in, and we got the main event we're looking at right now. Hikarunakamura White versus Prague, which yesterday defeated Magnus. I think you guys remember. What a incredibly accurate game he played. Now just a formal quick check here at my end to see if we're actually live on Facebook and the rest of the platform. It's not just Facebook, it's YouTube first and foremost, and then Twitch and Facebook, and should be kick.com as well. Let me try to modify. Wait, I wanted to do something. What is that thing? Here it is. Here it is. Let's just put it with the, yeah, okay, if that makes any difference whatsoever. Okay, cool. I think we're good. As soon as you guys will be joining, I'm gonna ask you to confirm if the sound is fine. The sound is okay. I hope it is. Should I drop this thing just a bit? What is this? The alert? No, not the alert. The chat one. Let me just try to. Okay, I think that should do. Perhaps, maybe, yeah, but that's just to. Yeah, well, anyway. Or maybe let me just go back where it was. Hello, Simpson. Is the sound okay? Cool, thank you. Appreciate. Thank you very much. Yeah. So, we're looking at, well, 3 games at once. The emphasis would be on whatever you want to be the emphasis on, guys. But anyway, I find this interesting. I want to look at this very unorthodox position here. Hikaru with whites, Prague with the black pieces. And this is a very, very weird. What on earth did they play? D4, knight f6, c4. Is it knight c3, bishop b4? How did it come to this position here? Queen to c. What was white? Queen to c3. So they took something. Let me just. Queen defends, takes, knight takes, and queen has to take back. Huh. Interesting position here. He didn't castle. He needs to spend a couple of tempi, Nakamura, to secure the king. And I wonder if it's something to b4 move. I wonder if he should be concerned about the b4. Takes, and if you take, so b4, ab, cb, queen b. Now this is interesting. Interesting for sure. Probably it's too premature to push this guy. So he won't be pushing him. He won't push the pawn. He loses a pawn here and he doesn't achieve anything. Plus, Prague himself has to find some ways to get the knight in the game. And currently the knight can't move because there is a black pawn on d7. So this guy has to be played as well. And of course, Nakamura needs to engineer something. Knight f4, knight g3, you name it. The bishop can drop back on b7 as well. I mean, you don't have to stay there forever. And there is a little bit of pressure on c5. I guess now d6 would be the natural thing. d6 would just defending c5, just thinking out loud actually. Oops, not that one. It hasn't been played. Apologies. Let me refresh the page. Oops. So d6 for defending c5. Making some space for a knight. This kind of stuff, I guess, makes sense. And I don't know when and how. Maybe a bishop to b7. Yeah, okay. We'll see. Also, there is an interesting move here with the queen to g5. Well, not right now. Don't get me wrong, not now. But just saying in the future. I don't know, when you play knight, or maybe if you play knight f4, maybe queen to g5, then interesting, so you can't move the bishop up because g2 is hanging. But that's a little bit taken 2 steps forward, so we're going to take it step by step, first thing first. So c5 being hit now, probably I assume d6. It could be queen c7, it could be queen e7, but maybe you want to leave the a for the rook. Sorry, you may want to leave the E column for the rook to play. If you play queen to c7, there is also the rook coming to the c file. So I'm not sure. I'm really not sure about this. Plus, you can do crazy tactics. You can play knight to d4 because it's pinned. The pawn can't take. So there are all sorts of craziness that might happen here. So perhaps, just perhaps d6 for the time being. So yeah, leave it d6 and defend. Then white will have to play knight g3 or knight f4. So we'll see what Prag does. So Fabi is white. Now we move to board number 1. Fabi plays white and Magnus with the black pieces. What happened here? Castles by Magnus. A rook to f. This is an awkward little guy here. The pawn on e3. Oh, this guy is slightly disconnected. It must have been a trade. Also the e6. So let me see, just briefly, yeah. The Italian game, gioco piano pianissimo, okay. a4, bishop retreats, h3, preventing bishop g4, bishop e3 though. Takes now, and takes, bishop e6, and bishop takes, okay. And knight d2, and castles, and rook f2. So I guess he wants to play what? Queen e2 and rook a to f? Is that the main idea? Getting the rooks double on the f file because it's... I mean, if it's about to open and things, yeah, why not? Why not? Yeah, so rook f2 being the last move Fabi played. And what else is here? Oh, actually I like this one too. Look at this. I just noticed. I just moved to watch this game, by the way, and I've noticed there is a queen to b3 possibility. Anyway, it is Magnus's turn and not Fabi. So, yeah, Fabi just moved rook f2. But it's just interesting, the queen to b3 idea. The idea would be, the principle would be to try and attack as many weaknesses as possible, and queen b3 would just target the e6, would target the b7. So that would be one stuff. But it's Magnus black stance play. How would you preemptively play given the queen b3 potential? How would you play if you were black here? And I would imagine Fabi would like to do that. How would you play against it? Given that queen b3 attacks two weaknesses at once. Well, it is the b7 at least. I think looks a little bit poisonous though, because if queen takes and rook plays, yeah, okay, you're gonna grab another pawn in the process. But it's an interesting. Maybe rook f2 actually serves the purpose to looking after the b2. Blimey, there's something very deep happening here. Maybe rook to f2, not just to double up, that is, but also maybe rook f2 wants to look after the b2. Anyway. Queen e7 play by Magnus. That means if you do queen b3, you're only attacking b7. And by the way, sorry, apologies. There is the knight. It's not. The knight is falling. So I think queen b3 still can be played. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure now. I'm not sure. Queen b3. Queen b3, knight a5. You're being attacked. You could go back to c2 maybe. Not just back. But anyway. I like this. But probably Magnus saw this ages ago. You're not going to fall for this. So let me just highlight the potential for some combinations here. Let me just highlight some stuff. I don't know which one's going to come to happen or not. This one, knight h4, after you play knight h4, black might be playing something with tempo, attacking your rook whilst your knight's being hit by the queen. So I don't think it works, knight h4. I think we might be just discarding that move. Although, Knight h4, knight takes c4. You play knight g6, attack the queen. You play knight g6, you attack the queen, frankly. So you see, actually, we might need to look at this one a bit more. Knight h4, knight e4, attacking your rook with a knight, and the knight's being attacked by the black queen. But then if you play knight g6, you actually attack the queen. I don't know, is it working? I'm asking for Fabi. Knight h4, knight e4, knight g6. You take my rook or whatever you take with, but the queen is on prey. So I assume you gotta move the queen. And when you move the queen, may I take the rook first? I could, but then the guy takes your rook with the knight. So I'm not fully convinced that white should play this. Knight h4, knight e4, knight g6, queen. Sorry, queen f. No, actually, I think it works. It works, isn't it? Knight h4, knight e4, knight g6. You have to move the queen. Queen e8. I take the rook with the knight. You take the rook with the knight. Man, but I'm losing a pawn. It's difficult. Hello, good day to you too, Vlad. Good to see you, my friend. What do you think about knight h4? What do you think about knight h4? Knight takes. Knight g6. Queen somewhere to safety. Knight takes the rook. Knight takes the rook. And king takes. And then queen takes. What do you think? If you win a pawn in the process, hey, queen b3. Didn't I say this one, Simpson? I did say two main things, knight h4 and queen b3. I did say either queen b3 or knight h4, and I'm happy one of them came to be. Probably knight h4 has some faulty stuff behind, though. Maybe there is some something dodgy about knight h4 that I haven't noticed. But queen b3, definitely that kind of move you would like to play. Mind you, though, it might be slightly poisonous, but yeah, I think you may want to defend it. I'm not sure it's that poisonous. The phone is on the cupboard. But for what, me?
I'm looking for you, but you are busy.
Okay. Is they okay? Queen b3. No, I think you need to defend b7. You need to play something like b6. You gotta play something like this, or rook behind. Maybe rook. b6 or rook b8. b6 or rook b8. That seems to be the normal thing to play. Anything else, it's a bit too hazardous. It's just a bit too much of a stretch. Knight a5. Seems to me. Sometimes things are not that they seem. That I know, but b6, rook b8 seem to be normal. Although b6 weakens the knight a little bit. b6, queen c4. I'm not sure. Knight a5. What do you do? Queen a2. So you do this, they do that. You need to drop queen on a2. Yeah, you keep an eye on this one, though. Maybe after rook b8 or b6, maybe there is something about this one as well. Some d4 advancement. You need to push the d pawn, I guess. Or you're going to play just something simple. Rook af. Let me highlight the moves. So I guess for black, we might see rook b8, the most normal thing ever. Rook b8, rook a b8, the most normal thing ever. You want to keep the rook on the f file for future, whatever that is to happen on the f file. Rook b8 for now, I guess. Just for now. Afterwards, the candidates' moves for white might be d4, might be rook a f, and that's about it. Unless you want to try differently. So something else I'm not seeing. So these are the normal stuff. Yeah, you could do b6. We're going to highlight the b6, but I'm not sure. The thing that make me doubt it is because b6 weakens the c6 square and the light squares. So if you do a move like b6, the knight on c6 is a little bit alone. There's no defender for that knight. And if queen c4, you're gonna have to what? Knight to a5, queen to a2, and then maybe I'm gonna push b4. Maybe you're gonna, I don't know. Maybe you're gonna get on b7 after all. So I'm really not sure about b6. I guess it can be played. Looks like you're gonna be safe with the knight. You're not gonna lose it in the end, but I don't know. Rook b8 seems to be the most normal thing to play. Normal instead of solid, instead of safety, in terms of safety. Less hazardous instead of safety and control, so to speak. Probably rook a to b8 for black, but we'll see about it. Yeah, rook a b8, b6, this kind of stuff. And for white, doubling the rooks, pushing the pawn in the middle. The idea would be if you manage to connect the pawns again, in case that black takes, you're going to take back. You're going to have your nice, beautiful pawns aligned together, connected and stuff. So, yeah. And there is some investigation over to knight h4, but I'm not fully convinced. There might be something about knight h4, but maybe I'm wrong. It's risky. It's very sharp, knight h4, because knight takes with tempo on e4. So, yeah, knight a5 and then queen to a2, Simpson. Yeah. If knight a5, queen to a2 straight away, then I'm going to push b4, mind you. So knight a5, I understand what you mean. Queen to a2, the idea would be I might play b4. Then you're sort of going to have to go back, and you just gave me a lot of space on the queen side, if that means anything. If that means anything for white, for black. We'll see about that. So, okay. Shall we move to Firouzja? Dingliren, Alireza being white here. Queen being hit. Queen's got to go. Unless you want to take 2 pawns for a piece, if you think it's worth it. What's this craziness? My God, what is that? Sorry, what the hell is going on here? The knight's being hit by the bishop. Queen's being hit by the pawn. What did this guys do? Sorry, but your queen is under attack, as is your knight. Sorry, did Alireza did something? My God, what's going on here, guys? F3, I don't like it. Okay. My God. I think knight h5 is the mistake it did. Like the downright blunder or something. No, not white taking the knight, I think. Okay, queen's gonna have to move and the bishop's gonna take with check. My God, that just looks weird. You have to move the queen. Queen, where do you move the queen? Well, you've got this, this, and this. That's the only squares you've got for your queen. You go queen a4, you go queen b5, or you go queen d1. That's it. Queen b5, queen a4, queen d1. So you have to save the queen, and then bishop gonna take the knight with check, and then you're gonna have to move the king. And then this guy is still on prey. This is incredibly sharp. This is such a sharp position. Very, very, very sharp. Both b5. I mean, if you do b5, they might be hitting you a6 with tempo. You will go a4, then they're going to be pushing again, and then you're going to have to drop on d1 anyway. So maybe it would be good just queen a4, because I reckon black is not going to be wasting tempo to play a6 b5. So you're going to play queen a4 in terms that queen doesn't quite go back on d. So you still keep your queen making a pin. Black is not going to waste a6 b5. They have to take your knight with check. So you play queen a4, making a sort of pin, saving the queen, to which black takes the knight, and then you're going to have to play king f1 and just keep playing whatever that is. Queen a4, there you go. Queen a4, exactly as I had played myself. Yes, that's what I would have done. Although I'm not playing this kind of stuff. I'm not playing this kind of Indian whatever game that was the opening they played. I don't do it. What is this? A45 Indian. No, I'm not playing this. So queen, yeah, okay. So now king to. You wanna go king d1 though? Well, actually, I'm not sure. Well, you got two options here. You got king f1, king d1. I will go king f1 just in case something goes really weird, just to having space to going with my queen. So king to f1, king to f1, king to f1. The game continues, but it's very sharp. This is incredibly sharp. There is this, very sharp game. Well, this guy is hanging anyway. So king f1, and bishop will have to go where? Probably here. Here? I don't think so. You're not gonna go d3, right? Bishop takes, pawn takes. So maybe you could. Queen b5, taking your guy back. So king f1. King f1. Bishop f5. And then, I don't know, do you want to push one more time? e4. Pawn takes, pawn takes. Maybe you do. Very sharp, incredibly sharp. This one here. Very sharp indeed. Bishop f5. Wow. Bishop f5, e4. Yeah, bishop f5, e4. Pawn takes, pawn takes. And then where do you go? Oh, okay. He didn't. He went king d. Okay. This is very complicated and very sharp situation they have. Okay. Very sharp. Wow. Tough game. For both of them. Bishop on prey. Maybe here? Maybe here. Because if you go f5, you're going to lose it, guys. If you go bishop f5, you're going to be e4, takes and takes. So I think the bishop will be lost. If you want to save the bishop, you got to play bishop d3. You got to play bishop d3. Bishop takes, pawn takes, and we just keep playing. Yeah, white will have to find some maneuvering to get this guy, or playing maybe the knight somehow, somewhere. Heck knows when, how. Okay. So bishop d3 seems to be the way to saving your bishop. If you go f5, you lose the bishop, right? Yeah, bishop d3. Okay. What do you think, guys? Bishop d3, right, is the only move. Is bishop d3 the only move? Vlad Simpson? What do you think, guys? Bishop d3, the only move. I think it's the only move. Looks like the only move. I hope I'm not wrong. Bishop d3. Yeah, that's the only move. Sorry, but you're just dropping piece if you don't play bishop d3. What else is here to calculate? Is there anything else we're missing? Because I don't understand why Ding would spend so much time here when it's, I think, obvious that you're supposed to play bishop d3. Unless they prepared some crazy lines, which I'm not quite convinced what that crazy line would be that might be working for black, except bishop d3 here now. I don't know. I don't see anything. The knight is pretty much useless for the time being. The bishop is on h4, doesn't attack nothing. I mean, just stays very well where it is, don't get me wrong. This bishop does an incredibly good job just for the time being. It's great. But you have to play bishop d3. Okay, let me highlight it. I'm going to leave it on the screen. I'm going to go to another game. Yeah, bishop d3 the move. That one with the green just showing. Yeah, so that's the move for black. And after this one, white will have to take. Black takes, and I don't know if you play queen b5 to take back on d3. I do not see anything else for black to play. Anyway, maybe there is something super hidden, not obvious. Okay, let's go to Magnus and Fabi. Hey, rook b8 guys. Guys, aren't you happy when you see that actually they play what you said they're gonna play? Rook b8. Yeah, we did thought about knight to a5, but that just looked incredibly weird. And indeed, the other move that I said for both colors, guys. I did say last time I was here in the game, let me just go back. Last time I visited the game, I said that black's gonna play rook b8 and white's gonna do rook af1. That was for both colors my prediction, and it came to be exactly like this. And rook af1. Let me just get this stuff off. What is it? I don't wanna. Okay. I don't want to have any stuff here on the screen. Sorry, guys. I don't want to have anything. Cool. Leave it like this. Okay, cool. Yeah, so that was exactly what I said black and white potentially would play. So let me now throw another candidate moves for black and white, our favorite game. Whose turn is it? Black's turn to play. Vlad says b5. Well, given the fact that the black rook is on the b file, Magnus actually played the knight back. I wonder. The heck, does he want to go f7 now? I really, what? Does he want to push c5 and then knight to c6? That's a little bit unexpected. I normally, by default, I do not get pieces on the back rank unless I really have to, or there is an obvious better square. I mean, apart from the fact that the knights defend e6, which is very painful to looking at anyway. I mean, does he want to go the queen someplace else, or what is the thing? What? What does he want to do? Knight d8? Why? That's just not clear. What does the knight want to do? Why did he drop knight from c6 to d8? Does he want to push the c file? The c pawn? Yeah. No, to some extent, you kind of understand the stuff behind it. So if your judgment doesn't get overly clouded with the emotions, you might get to understand the moves that need to be played. You know, just the problem becomes when it's getting incredibly psychological and your emotions overwhelm you and your fears and the anxiety and stuff, and then you're gonna start playing erratically, and then you self-doubting and stuff like that. And that goes for every single human. So that's a perpetual struggle for humans anyway. Not for the machines, but for humans for sure. Absolutely. So, knight to d8, going back to this move, unexpected move, is because I guess he wants to expand with the pawns and get the knight back or something. b5 sort of, oh, no, that doesn't make any sense. Sorry, c5? What is the c5? The only stuff is that because c5 and the knight defends e6. What else does he want to do? It's not clear. Does he want to do b6, knight b7, knight c5? I mean, like it takes like a billion years. b6, knight b7, knight c5. I mean, what? White's not going to play d4 or something? Oh, come on. I don't know. It might be a couple of other things mixed, and it might be a hybrid intention. Yeah, he's gonna go as it develops. b6, knight b7, knight c5. Is this the intention? Just to hitting here? I mean, just asking for a friend. If you could play knight b7, knight c5, attack d3, is this the stuff? But then queen c2 and they kick you away with b4. What exactly have you achieved? Okay, we're gonna leave Magnus to reveal his intention in just a few moments, I guess. I don't get the knight d8 stuff very clearly. Amongst others, maybe that's what you want to play. Maybe, or maybe it could be heck. For White's though, from White's point of view, oops, not this one. Apologies, that was a mouse click. From White's, I really look into this. The idea would be if they ever take, you're going to take back naturally with the e-pawn connecting your guys. So that's what I'm thinking about. But I may be wrong. Could be d4. You know, Fabi is a positional player. He doesn't play crazy stuff unless he's absolutely forced to by the circumstances. So probably Fabi going to break in the center. Or he gonna play this guy, the knight, in order to reveal the battery. Given the fact that the knight has just interposed himself in between the two black rooks. So you see, if your opponent played knight d8, okay, it's not a grey move. I actually kind of a little bit hate it. Play knight h2 or knight e1 just to, yeah, I would love to get the knight actually here. But how do you get there? You could get them now. What about knight h4 now? Because if they take here, you're going to take this. Yeah. Guys, I've changed my changed mind again. What about this right now? Knight h4. Knight h4. When I do rapid, yeah, Simpson, yeah. When I do the rapids, I play the confirm button, yeah. I don't do bullet. Maybe twice a year, twice a year I play bullet. No, I don't play bullet. No. And the blitz, I don't do confirm button in the blitz because I'm just losing on time probably if I were to do that. But in the rapid, I do have the confirmation button. Yeah. So knight h4 would be definitely something to looking at. Because if the black knight takes on e4, you're going to take on f8 with check. So that might be something. And also, knight on h4 might play here because it's pinned. So it's really getting interesting. It's getting interesting. You go to f, you attack the queen, queen's going to move, then yeah, it's interesting. It is definitely interesting. So knight h4, given the fact black had just moved knight to d8, if they play knight to d8, I think you can throw a tempo with knight h4 because knight d8 doesn't look like that much of a aggressive move. Pardon me, guys, but knight d8 doesn't pose any particular problem. By the way, the target is on g1. That black knight is on d8. Okay, just so yeah, of course. So knight h4 That's the moment now. That is the moment. Knight e4 not gonna work because you're gonna take on f8 with check, and that's just winning. That is just winning. So knight h4 would be my understanding here as a human. If I had this over the board, knight h4 I think would definitely be my choice. Looking at the position now, I don't see anything. If they want to push G, no, they can't because G6 it's a fork. I'm winning already. So knight h4. Knight h4. Yes. So that's my candidate move. Knight h4. If I was Fabi here in this position playing with black, Magnus or not Magnus, knight h4 I would play. Yes. Let's go to Naka and Prague. Naka and Prague here. Hey, that's that interesting position. Well, they're all interesting, aren't they? F3. Taking this and this from the black knight. But weakening this guy. Is this how you're supposed to play? You push the f pawn. Ah, he wants to make a structure with f3 e4. That's what he want to make. And mind you, there is no dark square bishop. There is a queen though. But f3 e4. So he wants to play f3 e4. That would be the only concern white might have. That might be the only concern. On the other hand, if you do f3 and e4, you might be having this and something like this for this. Yeah, oh, hold on a sec. Let me just alrighty. So okay, let's just give them that thing. Oh man. So yeah, we gotta be flexible. Okay. We gotta be flexible. Guys, I left it here. Oh crap. Alright. Where were we? Okay. Right. Back in business. Alright. So we have to be like flexible all the time. Normally you don't wanna push the F. You don't wanna push the F. But in this particular position here, I suspect f3 stops any knight, builds up e4 like a spear, and not just that, allows queen to go g5 and perhaps with the knight on f5. Very nice stacking here. Not mentioning the knight on f5 keeps an eye on this guy as well on d6 and g7. So that is interesting. That is absolutely very, very... It's exciting. I like it. And do you know something? Given a chance, can you run the h-pawn? I mean, there's many ideas, but just saying. It's good to having as many ideas as possible, and then you're going to decide which one actually goes best. But definitely the move that he played, f3, that's what he builds up towards. So he aims to do that. He aims to play e3, e4, queen g5, knight f5. Of course, you can't play all moves at once, but just say. Again, no dark square bishop. There is a queen. There is a queen indeed. But, you know, as they say in chess, you can't have them all. You might have your counter game on the king side. On the king side. Yeah. And maybe he's going to push the h-pawn. Maybe he's going to play just king f1. So I'm going to tell you all my predictions here. This... So with f3, this, king to f, push some h-pawn. That's in Nakamura style, if I may say, very tactical, sharp, aggressive. Yeah, I think so. You guys tell me if you think I'm wrong or not. I'm not sure about the G pawn you mentioned now, Vlad. Maybe it's a different position or something. You're referring to a different scenario. G pawn can't be played here, and I don't think it's a good idea for black either. You can't push the G pawn. You weaken all the dark squares around the black king. You can't push the G pawn with black. No. White instead can play E4 and then push the H. You can definitely push the H pawn, and I think you should, and I think you will. You don't need to be, I mean, I would assume any seasoned player out there thinks similarly. Yeah, and king to f1 just to move the king away from the e file where the black rook is. So you're going to move the king over to the f. And yeah, I think it makes sense. Okay, I like it. Yeah. This one here, though. What did Fabi play? Oh, no. Knowing Fabi, I think he's going to stay 10 more minutes before he deciding to play h4. So knowing Fabiano, he's a positional. He likes to think carefully. 4:57 according to my clock. So he's going to take 10 more minutes until he decides to play knight h4. And the reasoning being, if Magnus wasted the tempo with knight d8, why wouldn't you waste the tempo with knight h4, which is at least something aggressive? It does something, it does attack, hits something, it puts some problems. Cool stuff. So let's see when Fabi decides to play knight h4. If not knight h4, if he gets too concerned about something, he might be going with d4. If you don't like knight h4. So I'm going to leave it like this. Anything else, knight h2 looks awful. Knight e1 looks awful. I can't look at knight h2. I refuse to calculate knight e1. You can't do this kind of stuff. I mean, you can, but it doesn't lead anywhere. Let's go to Ding and to Ali Reza here. Well, that's a pin. What did the guys do? Vlad, you know we said bishop d3 because actually this is the only move that works for black. Otherwise, you're just dropping pieces. So bishop d3, bishop takes, pawn takes. And didn't I say queen b5? I absolutely did say queen b5. Even before this thing happened, because I was looking for an active way to take the pawn back. And queen b5 was the only move recognizable and playable. And there you are. There you have it. Queen to b5. Queen to b5 with a very simple intention. Recovering of the d3, and then he's gonna play king to d, and then given a chance, maybe you're gonna launching your rooks like this, maybe this pawn, and I guess yeah, that's fine. Again, maybe you don't want to castle short if you're black here. It's yeah, we need to see what Magnus decides to play. Actually, we need to see what he decides to play. Yeah, it's not going to take any knight, but yeah. It's Blackstone, by the way. It's Blackstone. If it's Blackstone, you need to look for counter game here. I don't know what counter game means very clearly now. Maybe it means a6. But a6, yeah, I mean, probably a6. I'm not sure what counter game can be generated here. f6? I mean, it looks awful. Really, I mean, no. h6? h6 just to put a stop to h6 white pawn moving. You know? h6 by black would be just to stopping the white pawn. Not to do anything else, so to speak. Because it's concerning having the white pawn on h6. It really is. It really is. Absolutely. I don't know what else black could play. A6 maybe. Let me just highlight this one as well. I'm gonna leave all. Yeah. So f pawn can be completely discarded. No, no, not that one. Let me refresh the page. Absolutely out of the question. This one maybe, or h6 maybe. And these are two big maybes. Maybe there is some other stuff you want to look at. Maybe there is queen d7. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. So with red are the moves that personally I would think to play if I were black here. And with the green is just a move that I'm a little bit doubtful I'm going to play it. But it's available on the screen. It's available to play, although not that great. Morning to you too, Marlon. Morning. Morning. Cheers, man. You came via kick.com. That's cool. So these are the moves that I would probably play for black. And the stuff with the green is just because it's available to play. But I kind of like, it's not my whole heart in it. I don't know if I would do that. As per white, definitely queen b5 would be immediate. Whatever black chooses to play. Well, not whatever. But let's assume some queen d7 or a6. Even more a6. I would just play queen takes on d3 immediately. Just take my guy back and just take it from there. That's what I would do. That's about Ali Reza. That's very exciting, fascinating game happening right now. Absolutely. As per this one, didn't I tell you guys? Fab is going to spend 10 minutes before he decides to play what I said. Okay, back to stuff. Hello, original Nakamura. Good day to you too, my friend. So, yeah, so he's gonna stay 10 minutes before he does knight h4. Other than that, I don't know what white can play. Ah, yeah, and d4 we said. Knight h4 and d4 we said. If there's any other candidate move, Vlad, Simpson, Marlon, if there's any other candidate move, let me know, guys. We're gonna put it on the screen. And but of course, it's I'm assuming it's the move that people found by themselves, not inquiring with secondary sources. That is, and I'm sure you guys know. Okay. After he didn't move nothing here. Prague didn't play nothing. After f3, he didn't move nothing. What about rook c? I like rook a8. It's always a good idea to get the rook. It's always a good idea not to leave the rook in a corner. So we can start with this simple truth. Don't leave the rook in a corner. That's one thing. And rook ac8 seems to be one of those things. Also, queen b6 could be one of those things as well. You know, if you ever dream of pushing the b, you may want to have the queen here because of bishop taking the bishop. Unless you want to play something different. I don't know. But it looks to me, rook ac8, queen b6, and for white, e4, king f1, h4, and move on to the pawn, move on, move on, move on. So that's how I see things. That's how I see them. No, I don't watch these. I don't watch any series, nothing about the. I don't read not even the tweets about Kramnik about any cheating. Yep, I feel I'm wasting a little bit of my time. I'm not watching this kind of stuff. I'm not interested. No, I've overheard some discussion about some cheating allegations. Again, of course, this is very difficult. So for the online medium, when you got a bunch of super tough guys playing chess, just put two cameras, one behind the player, and ask them to share the screen all the time and things. I mean, there could be some measures in place, you know. So when you do Title Tuesday, I think they should ask the players to have two cameras on, one behind the player and another camera in front of the player, and also sharing the screen all the time. Something like this. I mean, that should be helping to some extent. Other than that, it's just getting completely crazy. Yeah. So the next video that keeps me busy now, I'd like to do the game number 11 in between Fischer and Spassky. So I'm thinking about that one, watching it a couple of times, going through the moves, getting its depth as much as I can, and also to summarize it for like 15 minutes more or less. So that's what I'm occupied with for the time being. I've got a club I need to attend on Saturday. And yeah, that should be, yeah. And this thing amongst some family stuff that takes all the time available. So yeah, I'm not gonna. Yeah, so that's for this particular game. I don't see any other stuff for Prague to play here. I don't know if you guys will do something else if you're Prague here. Okay, let's move to Alireza and Ding here. Ding didn't move nothing. So again, I'm going to leave the arrows here. I'm going to leave this. I'm going to leave this. I'm going to leave this. And for white, necessarily, queen takes immediately, king e2, rook on the g. So that's about my prediction in regards to this game. Maybe we should be visiting the the other tournament for the. Did something happen here? No, nothing happened. Nothing happened here. Okay, let's go to see the women section briefly. We're gonna go back. Okay, this is Vaishali. This is Prague Sister. Prague Sister with black and Pierre Crumling with white. They play the Grunfeld defense. Oh, come on. I don't want to see the moves on the screen. That makes me sick. No, that makes me even more sick. I don't want to see the moves on the screen, for Christ's sake. Okay, leave it like this. Okay, well. Yeah, I assume you got to take this guy back, so not a big deal. You got to take that guy back. There's a pin here. But there also, you can't just keep this guy here forever, so you got to play the rook as well. I don't play Grunfeld. CD. So CD has to be played. CD has to be played. Then you might be having this kind of stuff. CD and C5. Right? Because if you take, bishop's going to take your rook. So that's kind of serious. Probably that's what Pia thinks about CD and C5. What do you play afterwards? Well, you could probably push the pawn, right? That's how the theory goes. Those of you guys that play the Grunfeld. If there's anyone playing Grunfeld, so CD, C5, E5, right? I mean, you could play Rook AD, I guess. What move is that? Move number 12. So it's quite right in the opening. They're right in the opening. Interesting, Vlad. Thank you for the tip. Yeah. Okay. Cool stuff. So let's see, the Tukon National, Ju and June, I think is the current World Chess Champion, a woman World Chess Champion, Ju and June, with black, Leiting G with white. Okay, this guy is a nice pawn there. The bishop c6 acts like a pawn. Okay. Whose turn is it? Lei Tingji's turn. Okay. What do you play here? We need to open up things a little bit. Knight B. What do we play here? Knight G. Can we play knight F? Knight takes, pawn takes in order to get some rooks at some point. I don't know when, but knight B5, knight takes, pawn takes. That's good. I like knight B5 here. I do like it. Knight B5, knight takes, pawn takes, bishop gotta go. Well, they don't have to take you though. They don't necessarily have to take you, but I don't know what else is here. Rook Fe1. Look, Rook Fe1 is one of those things you can always play it. So you can play Rook Fe1 anytime. That's always a good move. There's never a bad move getting rook from F to E. There's never a bad move getting a rook from A to C. Do you know what I mean? This kind of stuff, there's never bad moves, so to speak. Getting rooks away from the corners. They shouldn't be staying in a corner. Oh, I read that joke. I think I read it today. I don't know if it was Twitter or something. Yeah, just charge it or something. Just go grab a charger or something. I don't know. Yeah, I read it today. Paul, that joke on Twitter or something. I don't know if it was Facebook or Twitter. I can't remember. Yeah. So rook Fe, knight to B5. Nope, queen to A2. Double attack on the D5. Well, she goes for a weakness. That's a weakness. So she goes for the D5. That's a weakness. So black needs to do something to defend that guy twice. Probably knight F6. Probably knight F6. Probably. Then after knight F6, we might see knight F4. I'm just looking to increase the attackers on D5. Knight F6, knight F4. And then I don't know. It's the onus is on Ju and June to defend once again. Unless she could generate something, some counter game or anything. Not clear how, but anyway. Yeah, so I guess you don't want to lose the D5, although that comes with a caveat. So let's assume you do take the pawn. Let's just assume for a second you do take the pawn. So let's say you take it. Would you actually allow that bishop to do this to you? Yeah, okay, you attack the queen of tempo. Queen is going to move somewhere. I don't know where. We can just sit down and analyze the best square for the queen. But really, would you actually activate the black bishop that much? Simpson Vlad, really, if you are given a choice, let's say, do you remove the black pawn or not from the black's position here? So let's just put it, imagine the black pawn wasn't there. Let's just imagine for a second this guy is not on d5. You got empty space. Do you actually enjoy that bishop there? I'm not sure. It's complicated. I'm not sure what... I don't want to help my opponent. That wants to say I'm not just defends the d5, but if this guy wasn't here, let's play this game. If this guy wasn't on d5, you actually would be checkmated. I'm not sure about king h1. I'm really not sure about king h1. Well, king h1 moved away from the queen, but it's exactly onto the bishop, so you can't take d5. You really can't take the d5. It's impossible. So that's something. Yeah. So you need to increase the attack here. Do you do a rook lift? I don't think so. You can't get the rook here because there is a bishop. You can't play any rook to g6 or anything. You got to look for some other ways. I'm not sure what that other ways would be. You need to reshuffle. It's a little bit closed. You need to open up things, but how? If you want to increase the attack with black, what exactly pieces would you bring into attack? Knight f5 or something? Knight c4, knight c4. That makes sense. Knight c4. I think I like it. Yeah, knight c4, definitely. I like it. Knight c4 should stay there. Absolutely. Knight c4 is that kind of knight that you can't ever take that knight. This is very good stuff to do indeed. Knight c4. I would totally agree with this. You can't really take it because you're making a huge, huge, huge service for black. Yes, indeed. And can't be taken ever. Yep. And okay, that's for the ladies. Let's go back to the gents. Where was it? Here. Fabi Magnus. Where were we, guys? Wait a second. Wait a second. Queen d1. After he stayed 15 minutes or so, he played queen to d1. Can you imagine that? Queen to d1 after like 15 minutes. I want to try something. I want to make sure that knight h4 is or is not the best move to be played. No, I understand queen also moved anticipatory of b5. I understand. But I think it's worth looking at knight h4. Let me see if that's really the case. No, not now, for Christ's sake. Let me just go back. What am I doing? Knight h4, definitely a move. So at least I haven't seen complete ghosts. Knight h4 is definitely a move. Not the greatest ever. So I've advocated for knight h4 like 15 minutes ago, right at this point in time. And I said I would just play it most definitely. Because it's a psychological move. It makes black think, takes their time. They're getting a little bit concerned. So I did say knight h4, which is the fourth move of the engine. And I also said d4. I said two moves I'm considering here, d4, knight h4. And there you go, there on the screen. Not great, fabulous moves by any means. But anyway, a5 as sort of preemptively against b5, which is to come. But anyway, I did mention d4, knight h4. Now engine off. Engine off again. Back to the game. So queen to d1 moving away. b5 had been played. Takes and takes. And knight to h2. I'm not that happy about knight h2, but I guess you want to make space for the queen to open up the queen's diagonal. Knight to f7. So when Magnus played knight c6, knight d8, you wanted to play knight to f7? Really? Okay. Well, actually a5 it is a bit of a human. Okay, I understand what you're saying, Vlad, the psychology of it. a5 would be a human move if you actually ask yourself what is most aggressive move my opponent can play. And if you come to the conclusion that b5 is about to happen, you would naturally come to conclude a5 prevents my opponent to play it. But I'm telling you, yeah, it's not the most human move ever. It's not. It's kind of not. Knight h4 is an incredibly human move. And luckily, it wasn't a bad move or a blunder. I mean, that's what's most important for us as humans. Just try not to blunder, you know? And if possible, play better moves. So knight h4, definitely a very human move. And d4 going for the center, another very good, decent move. Either machine or human. Those moves had been chosen by the engine anyway. But a5, I didn't think of a5. I would have... I probably sensed a5 is a little bit of a waste of a tempo, and I don't want to do this. But it has a lot of function, a lot of power. a5 is important. But yeah, I didn't think about that. I thought about knight h4, d4. I did. I absolutely did. Okay. It's good. Next one. Hey, I said that. I said f3. I said queen b6. I did say it. And I said e4. That's the natural thing you want to do. I didn't say bishop c8 though. That one comes out as a bit of a surprise. Oh, it's okay. You could analyze engines games, of course. That's okay. There's always very good ideas to learn, to understand, to, yeah. You could preset them and put them into your favorite openings and see what they play, yeah, or something like. Totally. Bishop c8. Why? Why bishop c8? I mean, why bishop c8? That bishop was great where they were one day. Okay, I'm just trying to wrap my mind around bishop c8. So you had the bishop actually where you kind of wanted them to be, right? If you go bishop c8, where exactly you planning getting that bishop? Oh, no. He wants to push the bloody a5. And then potentially going to play b7 or bishop a6 back. No, 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 no. He doesn't want to do nothing on this side of the board. Guys, I thought it's something... No, he wants to push a5, guys. Come on. He don't want to do nothing. He wants to play a5. He don't want to do nothing on the king side with the bishop for now. But he definitely made space for a7, a5. I'm telling you that. He wants to play a5. That's what he want to play. He want to take space. Then he's going to go back eventually with bishop a6 because there is no other square for that bishop. And then, you know, for Nakamura to decide what to do next. I would have said maybe something in terms of pushing the h-pawn. I guess you want to push the h-pawn. It takes a billion years, but do you have a better plan? And for the time being, by the way, bishop c8 also stops knight f5. That's another, I guess, subtlety. Bishop c8 does not allow white to play knight f5. That would have been something. This is something. So that's another stuff. Maybe actually Prague wants to play bishop d7. I mean, push a5, but do bishop d7 to keep an eye on the f5. That might be as well. Might be as well. Oh, sugar, I got to open up the door. All right, hold on. Okay. Right. All right, fellas. Whoa, whoa, wait. Marlon, very hard to say. If you push the H file, so look, if the plan is Marlon, that's a very good question. So he actually posed a very, 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 very good question. If white is supposed to castle, actually, the problem would be if you do plan indeed, if Nakamura does indeed intend to do h5 and 6 and stuff and all, you kind of want to have the rook on the h file. Now, probably the best square for the white king, my 2 cents, would be to f1. Especially if Prague does something like bishop d7. I mean, if the bishop stays there, if the bishop goes on... No, regardless, doesn't matter where the bishop is. You still want to play king f1 and push the h and see what happens. I guess Prague would like to keep the bishop here. Why? It's incredibly important to stop knight f5. This is of paramount importance. Knight f5, Prague doesn't need to allow white to play knight f5. That mustn't happen. For black, for white would be a miracle. I mean, if you get knight f5, you're just killing it. It's awesome. But obviously, Prague's not going to let you doing that. But just saying. On the other hand, he'll be expanding nicely on the queen side with a5. This guy plays fabulous. This guy plays absolutely fabulous. I'm not sure if there's something about queen d3, if a5, queen, but nah, that's just awful. Bishop a6 comes back. Maybe as a decoy, maybe as a deflection to. So, I mean, I'm just thinking hypothetically, because everything's hypothetical. Some a5, queen d3, making Prague play bishop a6, dropping back. Why? Maybe you're able to get knight on f5 after all. But anyway, it's too much of a stretch. But as a decoy mechanism, maybe at some point you're luring black to playing bishop a6 if you do queen d3. In just saying. Just saying. You're talking about if queens are gone. Black doesn't want to have the queen gone by no means. Neither white, I guess, for attacking purposes. I think black would be happy if the white queen were to disappear. I think black would be happy. I guess. It's there's something about the seed. It's a pawn majority here, guys. Have you seen the pawn majority? 1, 2, 3 versus 1, 2. Now, if queens are coming off the board, and if you play some bishop and some rook, I think you're able to pushing the c pawn. That's cool. That's cool, and I guess that's what you want to do. You need to create a passer. You need to create a pass pawn. So I guess from black's perspective, getting the queens off the board might be something. Definitely white does not want that. You with white, you don't want to trade off the queen. Not now. No, no, no. It's a pawn majority. Pawn majority means the next step is you need to create a pass pawn. And then you push the pawn and get yourself a brand new queen. So that's the bigger plan. How are you getting to do this practically? Well, that's the art of chess. That's a super grandmaster crafty work to getting that pawn passed and then promote it. It takes a grandmaster to do some artful things here. White will need to create some counterplay. So if you're having white, if you are aware that black has pawn majority ready to create a pass pawn, white should be investigating the h pawn. Even if it takes you 3-4 tempo, you gotta go for this because you got nothing else. I mean, yeah, you could do rook ac, but he could do similarly bishop and then get the rook over here, even double. Then they could roll down the other pawn. Do you know what I mean? There is always a reply to whatever you try to initiate. There is always a response. And sometimes it might be even stronger. And yeah, I'll give you that. The white king is not ideally positioned either. I don't like white king's position very much. I have to tell you that. I don't like the white king position. Of course I don't like it. This guy shouldn't be here. But there it is. It shouldn't be, but it is. So you have to play like this. I guess black is a little bit better. I guess black here is a little... Okay, we can play that little game again. I'm going to put the gauge, the evaluation gauge now. But yeah, of course, Marlon. Yeah, spot on, my friend. Yeah. The white king is more exposed than the black king. The black king is nice and cool. I mean, you need like 4-5 tempo to do something against the black king. Whereas the white king, I don't know, they just don't look very great where they are. Yeah, and those pawns are going to be rolling down the board. I mean, this guy's going to go here. The pawns are going to be moving. Bishop's going to play. Rook's going to play as well. I don't even know. Yeah, you want to push the c. You definitely want to push the c pawn. So... yeah, black is a little bit better. Probably a minus 0.50, minus 0.20-ish, minus 0.40. I don't know. I'm gonna put the evaluation bar right now and check if it's correct or not. So let me just put it now, the evaluation bar. So this is Hikaru. What does it say here? +1. Why? Why +1? It's because of the H? Is the H plan that strong? I don't understand. Why is white so strong here? Why? Because of this? Because of this? I mean, I hope that's the only plan because I don't see it. This game is not over. Wait a second. Wait a second. This game is not over. Okay, how do you target the d6 pawn, mind you, though? I'm really keen on finding out. How do you target the d pawn? Yeah, that's a backward pawn. Okay, I agree. d6 is a backward pawn. Okay. How do you... I mean, you're not doing knight f5, do you? Because your king is here. Oh, don't tell me king f1 is more than enough. Jesus. Knight f5, bishop takes, pawn takes. And then you're just moving king f. Obviously, you can't move on f2 because of this. So you go king f1. d6 is weak, is a backward pawn. But how do you get to that pawn? I mean, apart from knight f5, how exactly you want to engineer? I mean, just tell me in human words, mind you, please. Tell me in human words. How do you get to d6? It's a backward pawn, but how do you get there, really? What is the price you're willing to pay? I mean, just tell me the plan. Yeah, I can see it's a backward pawn. I can see it's a weak pawn. But I don't know how you want to get there. Tell me. Tell me your plan. In words or something. Yeah, it is stronger. Okay. How do you trade the bishops off? Especially after bishop d7. How are you going to trade the bishops? So if you tell me how you're trading the bishops, I'm willing to believe you. How you get to trade the bishops off? It's not clear at all. I agree about what you said about the knights, the white knight, which is stronger than the black knight. Okay, because black knight can't move to many places. I understand. But it's not clear how you're going to trade off the bishops. Not at all. I mean, you would like to. Break the queen side. That's another general thing. How you want to break the queen side. A4. Okay. Yeah. Okay. A4. Well, Nakamura has 1 hour 48 minutes. Prague is 1 hour 11. I guess Nakamura can give now half an hour to think about his next move. Oh my god, they actually did. Oh, hold on a second. Let me refresh the page. Did they actually play stuff here? A4. Bishop D. Takes. Takes. Oh, you've seen the game in advance, Marlon. Oh, I understand. And now knight. Well, in the current position now, white is better because d6 has a problem. Sorry, I didn't know what you were... All right. Here, let me put the eval bar again. So, wait a minute. In this position here, you got a +1 for white. Given the fact you're going to play a4. I understand. Yeah, because actually he played the move you said white should be playing. Yeah. And knight to f5 because d6 is completely exposed now. So now, yeah, Prague will have to do something to defend d6. Okay. Okay. d6 is hanging. This is important. Well, black knight can't do pretty much nothing for the time being. They need a bit of readjustment. Knight on f5 targets d6. The king is a little bit exposed here. I'm not sure. Maybe you should... Well, you can't castle now, can you? But if queen moves, I don't know where. I don't know where, how. If the king disappears, maybe you would like to castle. Forget about the h-pawn. The idea is going for the d. Look at this one. He sacked a piece. He sacked a piece because it's unbearable to play like this. So he sacked a piece for activity. He gave a knight for 2 pawns in order to open up the e file where the white king is uncastled. And he took the pawn with tempo, hitting the queen. Mind you, you can't just say I don't care. Nakamura now, guys, this is the example where he can't say I literally don't care. He can't say he don't care. He does care. Nakamura can't say I don't care. He does, because it's a check. Sorry, the queen was attacked. And d6 still hanging. If Prague doesn't pull something miraculous, he's going to be in big trouble here, because the rook from h coming over to e, and that's pretty much it. It fizzles out completely. He needs to pull something. I think it was a measure of desperation, because he is aware the situation was awful. The situation was awful indeed. So he had to sack a knight on e4 for 2 pawns and the check. Now after king f2, mind you, what check do you have? Well, you could have queen b3 or something, but is that strong enough? I don't know. If the rook in a corner, if the rook on h1 goes in opposing stuff, that's pretty much the end of. Pretty much the end of. Knight can go maybe here to just keep an eye on this guy, but let's just see. Let's just see. It's black's turn to play. Is he gonna double up the rooks? I mean, just for simple stuff, you know. Oh, okay. I understand. All right. King f2. Looks to me that if you want to pull another active move, would be doubling of the rooks with the purpose of rook e2. And again, if this plan for black doesn't work, nothing else is going to work, because he's already down in material here. So you need to do very active attacking moves. If you don't play actively, probably gonna be over because of the huge material imbalance. Now after that move, after let's say rook 8 to e8, I guess you can drop knight to g3, protecting against the e, or maybe you can play rook h to e. You know, you could also play this. And I think that's good as well. I didn't look at this one though. Rook doubles. Then what if I take on the... Yeah, but it's check then, you see. So no, you have to play rook he. You have to play rook he. After rook a e8, looks to me rook h to e1. Rook h to e1. Okay, he goes for the knight, actually. Well, you don't want to lose that guy, do you? Absolutely do. You totally don't want to lose the guy. Hey, Nakamura's won 1 hour 30. It's on 90 minutes. He is winning this. He's on 90 minutes. He's totally winning this. He needs to take it easy now. He doesn't have to play like bullet mode type. He's got 90 minutes on his clock now. Plenty of time. Plenty of time. More than enough. Absolutely more than enough. Okay, what's the best way to defending that guy? Do you defend? Do you move the knight away? What else do you play? Do you hit the queen with the rook? Do you take on d6? If you take on d6, you also do not get checked potentially. You attack the queen with tempo, that is. And if it's something, you're going to go b3. Knight d6, and if they presume, let's assume they attack, you're going to go knight b3, but then this guy said, you got to be careful though. Maybe it's the time to play a little bit defensive here. Maybe knight e3. Maybe knight e3. You know, you're going to go for d6 later, I guess. Of course it's bloody sharp. It's super sharp because the king is still not super safe. But what I personally understand in this kind of super crazy situations, you got to use all your resources. So don't get excessively greedy unless you're absolutely certain, 100% you're certain, you're going to be cool. So, but before you're committing taking on d6 or crazy stuff, make sure 100% you're safe and nice and cool. If you're not sure, just just play something like knight e3, save the knight, keep an eye on this guy. You're gonna waste another tempo. If queen takes on b3, you're gonna play rook hb. So probably simple, nice chess. Don't overstretch it, you know? Just simple chess because you're close to victory. Just queen g5 is cool, I guess, but it can be replied. Probably what? G6. What else have you got? A knight h6, king g7. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I'm pretty sure if it was a checkmate forced sequence, Nakamura would have played it already, but it's not. Have you also considered rook takes f5 though? Well, queen takes. I mean, you need to consider. No, 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 no. You can't play queen g5. The king is out in the open. It's queen a. It's queen e2. I mean, this is too much. You can't. No, 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 no. I'm not saying something is wrong with d6. I'm saying that you have to calculate everything accurately, making sure you have you're gonna save your knight, and then you can play the rook on h1. Personally, I would go for knight e3 here, and then I would play the other rook into the game somewhere. C, B, you name it. I mean, anywhere, D, C, B, you name it. I wouldn't take d6. I mean, you can take it, but you gotta make absolutely certain everything's cool. So queen takes. Maybe queen goes b6. Well, you're still having forks everywhere, isn't it? You have to be certain. Look, if it was that obvious, Nakamura would have played knight d6 already. The fact he didn't play it as a super grandmaster he is means that he is not fully convinced. So what I'm suggesting is, in this kind of super many possibilities, I mean, I don't know. Queen can move here. Queen can move there. There's many things. There's many things. It's just so many things. So I would probably play knight e3 and then get the rook somewhere and just keep playing the game like this. Maybe I would... Okay, knight e3, knight e3. I kind of like knight e3. I kind of like knight e3. I'm defending my guy, protect against the check. Yeah, but my king is in the open as well. And my rook on h1 doesn't quite exist. Look, if you were a machine, yeah, I guess you wouldn't have a problem. If you are a human indeed, that means generally speaking, if you are a human, it's not that obvious. The supreme example is that Nakamura didn't take on d6 yet. If he was that simple, he would have taken, don't you think? So, I mean, have you calculated everything? Like queen b3, like queen d7. Have you calculated everything? I'm not saying knight d6 is bad. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's too much to calculate. It's very many variables and ifs and buts and maybes. And I would rather go knight e3 from a human psychological point of view. And then just getting my other rook active, and I should be winning. Probably it could be knight e3 to be the second or the third line of the engine, or maybe the fourth or the fifth. I don't know, because I haven't asked the engine. It could be knight e3, one of those lines, but longer term game, you should be winning because you've got extra piece here. So you need your resources active, actually. So, yeah, it looks safer. Again, knight d6 might be a super cool move in the end. Maybe the engine would say it's the first move. I don't know. Yeah, but for my understanding, I would go... So if this thing was to happen to myself with white, I would definitely go knight e3. I wouldn't take on d6. Because I'm too much into calculating a lot. Yeah, no, I wouldn't go queen to G because there is also stuff here. I mean, there's just I'm not feeling okay. Yeah, okay, there is stuff. You go G3, queen to D3. I mean, come on, I don't want to play this. No, I want to win. Actually, I do want to win. So that's why I wouldn't do anything for, excessively risky or unnecessarily. No. And also, mind you, black might be willing also to sack a rook for the knight. If your king is in the open, if they could perpetually check you. So you got to take this into account as well. Therefore, probably knight e3. And now it's time to have the supreme confirmation. Hello, Eugene. G4. Um, Let me think. G4 opens up too many squares for my opponent to attacking me, I guess. I guess it could be played. No, opens up too much. It weakens too much squares around the king. Nah, I would just drop knight e3, Eugene. G4 is playable, I guess. It defends the knight, I'll give you that. It does defend the knight. But why would I... Nah, I want to get the rook in action, actually. I want my rook to be on E. I want to trade those things. I don't want to push the pawns. Okay, let's have the supreme confirmation here, guys. Let's find out. G4 is the first line of the engine, Eugene, but I wouldn't play that. Knight d6, the second line of the engine, guys. I don't know if you checked with the engine or not, but I wouldn't have taken it. What I would do as a human, and I told you guys, is knight e3. That's what would be my choice as a human. 99, I think in all of the games ever, if I had that one in all universes, I would go knight e3. I wouldn't play g4. I'm telling you now. I wouldn't play g4, and I wouldn't take on d6. You need to calculate a lot. Like, you need to calculate a lot. All the variables, all the future variables. So, yeah, g4... Even if it's the best stuff given by the engine, again, if you guys spot it, very good for you. But it just opens up too many question marks here. It's just too much to take in. G4, this, and then what do you move the knight? And then, I mean, I'm not doing this. So knowing myself, knight e3 all day. I'm saving tons of minutes. So let's put it from a practical point of view. You're a chess player, let's say you are on the board, and you're having a couple of options here. Knight d6, g4, knight e3. Knight d6, you have to sit down and calculate a bunch of moves. G4, you have to calculate a lot of stuff. The practical move, knight e3, and you got no issue whatsoever. Forget about it all. Save yourself half an hour, go for knight e3. That's it, period. Yeah, nah. Knight e3 all day. So you guys would play maybe the first or the second line of the engine, as you have suggested already. But for me, no. Yeah. And if that's anything, Nakamura himself didn't decide what to play yet. So there you go. There you go. I definitely go knight e3, but that's enough. Let's go to Magnus and Fabio. I told you what I would play without the engine, and that was move line number 3. Not line number 3 here. What's going on here? Queen to e2, c4, shutting off everything. In the center, it's a bit. We need to open up things here. Do you reroute things? Do you get rook a? But that takes so long. Do you play knight f3? I'm not sure. Everything is so blocked here. You need to open up stuff. Do you play b3? b3. Maybe b3 after all. I mean, I don't know. b3. That's awful. Or maybe it's not. Maybe knight f3. Yeah, one of these moves. Yeah, I don't know fully. I'm not fully convinced yet. Now that's a delicate situation here. Knight f3, I kind of like it. I want to get my knights on the king side. I want to get my knights towards the middle of the board. I like knight f3. Now, also takes a couple of squares. or my opponent might move the queen or maybe the knight. So maybe knight f3. Yeah, knight f3. It could be, of course, there are some other options here, I'm sure. But knight f3, I like it. As a human, I like knight f3. You could investigate b3. You could look at all sorts of stuff. But I would play. Thank you for following, my friend. So, what did he play? Knight h2. Really? Let me refresh the page. Is it really the move he did? Oh, come on. Knight h2. Why? Why knight h2? Only to go to f3 and stifle the other knight square? Really? Why? He want to push g? Really? Okay, that's one of those moves probably I wouldn't do. But I'm not Fabi again. I would have played knight f3 here. I would have played knight f3. If they want to push h5, let them do. Then I'm going to play knight h2. I'm not going to play knight h2 now. Let's find out. Rook a1. I did mention b3. I bloody did say it. Bloody hell, the moves I dismissed actually were the first freaking moves. Rook a1, I did say it, but I hated it. Getting the power from the f over to the a. I didn't like to switch the power. b3, I did mention b3, but again, I retracted. And I opted for knight f3. Aww. How awful is knight f3? How awful is knight f3? Awful-ish, minus 0.3. Okay, it's not a massive blunder. It gives black power over to the queen side. Okay, let's put it in human terms. The engine favors rook a1, which I did say, but I wasn't confident enough to have played it. The engine says rook a1 because the engine wants to not allow black to claiming the a file. So they don't want to give them power over to the a file. That's in human terms being put. b3, I did mention b3, but I said I'm not going to play it. I did mention b3 because it just simply challenges the c4. You challenge the c4 here. So they have to react to that move. It's an attacking move. It's aggressive attacking move. The reason I didn't want to play it is because I kind of at the back of my mind was the idea of a rook coming to b2. I don't know. I was scared about that stuff somehow. So that's why I didn't pedal very much onto that. That is the reason why I didn't. But, bloody hell, I did mention those moves, but I didn't come in. But I wanted to play knight f3 anyway. Okay, let's go back to Naka and Hikaru. What the hell did they play? Ah, he didn't move nothing. He didn't move nothing. But you know something? He actually goes now through the lines you guys had suggested. Knight e6, g4. Just that the knight e3 saves you a ton of time. So that's the human approach. Knight e3 saves you 30 minutes. Doesn't blunder anything. Protects the pawn on d4. Protects against the check on f5. Stops the rooks if they ever want to double on the e-file. What is not to like about knight e3? It's great. It's really great. And gives you the tempo to get rook from h over to b, c, d, e, whatever the hell you want to get that rook. So it's important you're saving your minutes. You know. Anyway, because you're going to get into the end game and then you're going to have to spend a lot of time thinking. Anyway, maybe Nakamura is a genius, and he is a tactical genius. Would be admirable after he spent 30 minutes to go for something cool like knight takes d6 or g4. That would be nice. But let's see. Whereas Ali Reza and Ding here. Okay, let's just go a couple of moves back. Queen takes d3. We did say that. Hey, he castled short. He spent a lot of time. He spent 14 minutes. 1 hour 38 to 1 hour 24. 14 minutes he spent and he castled short. Despite all of this stuff. Look at this. Despite this, he still castled short. Queen d3. f6. f6 for, I guess, for rook f7. Rook g... I mean, I would play rook g1. Of course you play rook g1. That's the move you have to play. He goes... You know, guys, there is a principle. I also had a short video When your opponent attacks you on the flank, you have to strike in the center. So this is the principle that he applies it right here. He's being attacked on the flank, so he strikes in the center. That's a multi-purpose idea. Very many ideas behind. Let me just highlight Queen h3. First thing first, the bishop is being hit. First thing first, the bishop is being hit. If there is any takes, they're going to be taking back. A rook comes into power on the f-file and Queen h3. So this is the counter game he creates here. Fantastic, fantastic attitude by Ding Liren. Fabulous. So he took, and now Ding Liren ponders. He is still analyzing now if he's going to take on. I think he's going to take, right? You have to take. After you take, though, oh yeah, we're going to look at that thing. Of course, of course. After black takes, there is also something with the h6. I'm not sure if this or that. That is something. Of course, rook f7. Of course, rook f7. I'm not sure which one would you rather push. Bishop? Maybe bishop. You know why? After rook f7, maybe I want to play bishop g5, take your guys out. Maybe. I mean, there's a lot of maybes here. I mean, it's just so many variables. So maybe Ding doesn't want to take. Well, you kind of want to take the pawn. If you don't, of course you take the pawn. And he just did. Of course you take the pawn. You can't not take the pawn. Now the big question is, do you play bishop g5, bishop h6? Or do you play bishop g3? Bishop g5 guarantees the bishop disappears in one way or another. So if you want to get rid of the black bishop on h4, you're going to play bishop g5 right now. You play this. That bishop disappears. Well, you might go here, though. Well, then you're going to hit them with g2. And then they could do all sorts of things. All sorts of things had to be considered here. Mind you, black would be happy to open up the d or e for rooks, potentially. So this is anything but finished. I guess you have to focus on the flank attack now. It could be anything. Could be anything. Whose turn is it? Wait a minute. It's, wait a minute. Check. That gives you a big tempo. Also comes with a caveat. Yeah, you can. I'm not saying you cannot. You can. Yeah. Yeah, if you make sure you calculated in all directions everything, and you're happy with any rook coming over to the d file, sure. That gives you a tempo though, but also you need to play ASAP, king to c2 or something. You're going to get in deep trouble if there's any rook coming over to the d file. So you need to make sure you calculated that in all directions. Well, if you are a human, it is, unless you're a machine, which, yeah. So queen d5 gives you a check, gives you a tempo. They come, well, they can if they want to. They can block. They can still block, but they can also move. True, true. So queen d5, I don't know, king h8, maybe. And then immediately, you have to move the king away from the d file. And I don't know where you want to move it. Probably c2. Maybe. Maybe c2. I don't know. Queen d5, king goes in a corner. Do you move the king or do you play the bishop to g? Or this is very difficult. Very difficult. Queen d5, king goes in a corner. What do you play? Do you save your bishop or do you move the king? Yes. It's very difficult. Personally, so that's the only way I can think of this one. I would seriously think about some bishop g5 or bishop g3 idea, but that's so... I'm not sure. I'm really not sure about this. I don't know what I would do. Queen d5 check. Okay, queen d5 check. The guy moves and then bishop here. Yeah, I think I would probably go for this. Queen d5, king h8 or rook f8, bishop to g5 to get that guy off the board. They take, I take, and whatever. They play rook here, then I have to move the queen. Where? Well, that's a question. I don't know. B5. I don't know. B5. Then queen, I don't know, here. Then rook g2 to protect the knight against the checkmate. And if I'm lucky, maybe I have time to play king c2 and get the other rook to defend. Very difficult. Queen d5, king h8, bishop e5, bishop e5. What? Queen d5, h8, bishop e5. Knight takes your bishop. Knight takes the bishop. Queen takes the bishop. Bishop blocks. Well, are you sure? Queen d5, king h8, bishop e5, knight e5, queen e5, bishop f6. Are you sure? It's a very difficult one. Queen d5, king here. At least you... what? You take, they take. Bishop f6. Are you sure? Yeah. All right. Okay. Queen e5, king h8, bishop e5, knight takes, you take. Bishop f6. After bishop f6, what do you play? Queen d5, king h8, bishop e5, knight e5, queen e5, bishop f6. Where do you move the queen afterwards? Marlon. Where do you move the queen? Queen e4. Well, I could definitely then start attacking the queen with the rook e8. Attack the queen, you have to move the queen again. Rook e8, you have to move the queen again. We have to move the queen again, probably queen a4. Queen a4, then queen can take on h3, potentially inviting the other rook to attack you or to make a pin on the knight and stuff. This is very sharp and very difficult. Very sharp, very difficult. I think I would take here and then I would just play bishop g3 or bishop g5 probably. Queen to d5, king to h or rook f7 and then bishop g5. That's what I would probably consider playing. Still keeps an eye on this guy. Bishop takes, rook takes. I'm relatively happy. Relatively happy. Yeah. Okay. So queen d5, king h8, bishop g5. I would probably go for this. Queen d5, queen d5, queen d5, king h8, bishop g5. But then again, I'm not a machine. I'm not an engine. Maybe there is some truth to this. So, best move, queen d5, king h8, bishop e5 as you had suggested, bishop e5, knight e5. What? Bishop e5, knight e5. The engine changes mind all the time. Okay, the engine, the bloody engine. Queen d5. Yeah, queen d5 was mentioned at some point for sure. Now it freaking disappeared. Sorry, it's... Oh, he played bishop h6 already. That's why. Because he played bishop h6. But here, queen d5, bishop f6, queen g3, queen g3, queen g3, queen g3. Okay, things had changed. Let me go back. Bishop h6 was one of those things I said right at the very glance. And it's interesting he didn't take on d5 though. He was concerned it's just getting way to open up. So he went for something slightly safer. Bishop h6, which is still an aggressive attacking move. So bishop h6 still attacks here. So it's still an attacking move. You still have to play something against that one, right? So bishop h6 moved to safety, so to speak. You know, Marlon Alireza's not a machine either. So he's still a human, you see? That's the difference. That's the difference between human and a machine, Marlon. That's how a Super Grandmaster play, even if he's a Super Grandmaster and he's not a machine. So if you were a machine, you would have taken on d5 probably. If you're a human, probably you would have played the bishop. Yeah. No, queen d5 was the first line. Now, bishop h6 threatened g7. Rook f7 to defend. He takes now with a pin on the rook. Therefore, this one's still applicable. Rook takes g7 still applicable. But it's enormous pressure. And again, being a human, I think it's cool. You don't want to check or anything because I guess the bishop blocks and attacks you with tempo. So you don't want to do this. I think you can investigate now if you could. What, do you do something with the bishop? The bishop is sort of hanging. Probably bishop g5. Well, you lose the bishop. I was thinking about playing king c2 or something, but you're actually losing the bishop now. So you have to play something with the bishop. I don't know what that is. Yet. Bishop g5 perhaps. Bishop g5, bishop takes, rook takes. And then king c2, try to get the other rook to do something. Other than that, I don't know. Bishop g5 makes sense here. That makes sense. Okay. It does make sense, bishop g5. Alright, let's go to this one here. What did the guys do? They didn't do nothing. After knight h2, they didn't move nothing. Carlsen, oh my god, I think he's been thinking for 15-20 minutes now. Magnus didn't move nothing. Last time I saw the game, the position was knight h2, played by Fabi. And Magnus didn't move nothing. He didn't move nothing. I don't know what Magnus want to do. Probably he needs to get some rooks over to the A file. That makes a lot of sense. But I'm not sure. This is very complicated. There is still 2 knights here. You can still deploy the knights in various ways. It's just so complicated. I mean, okay, he spends an enormous amount of time. So he didn't move nothing for the last 15 minutes. He can potentially think of anything now. Rook a8. G5. Can you do G5? It's just too crazy. King H7. What do you want to play here? If you don't want to play nothing, just King H7 and just wait. Very difficult. There's many things to factor in. Very many things to consider here. Let's see, Hikaru. That's the most exciting one. Okay. You want to know something cool? Hikaru didn't move nothing for 20-something minutes, yeah? What was that? Look at that. 1 hour 31 minutes. The guy moved, and Hikaru for half an hour didn't move nothing. So now you got the supreme example of a human, a Super Grandmaster human, that didn't move nothing. So he didn't play knight d6 as the engine said. He didn't play g4 as the engine said. He didn't move nothing. It's very difficult when you play yourself over the board, and it's very easy when you check with the engine back home. So yeah, that's a big difference. Very big difference, eh? Yeah, didn't move nothing. And this guy's, that's another very sharp position here. King f8. I would play bishop g5 here. Just to trade off the bishop and I mean, what else is here? You lose the bishop, right? Yeah, bishop g5, I guess. Bishop g5, they could do this. And then you have to move the queen. Then you might go this. And then they might play this. Double attack on the knight. It's getting weird. Then you play this. It's just getting weird. Weird and weird. No, you can't play. No, they can't play bishop. Sorry, queen to d8 because there is a bishop there. So bishop g5, rook d7, queen e4. Bishop takes, rook takes, and then queen d8. And then you have to drop the rook back on g2. Yeah, so that might be a plan. But I would start bishop g5 here. I would go with this move, bishop g5. I'm not seeing if there's any other tactic. I don't know. But that's what I would do. Three, 3, 6, 3, 2, 5. It's 1x. Actually, no, it's more. Apologies. 3, 4, 7. 7 white pawns versus 5 black pawns. It's still a little bit sharp. White king's position is not very okay. I guess in the minute that white pushes the king to c2, it should be way better. You should be way better. It should be better. I think the bishop on h4 must disappear. Yeah, this guy is a little bit hanging. The black queen keeps an eye on the h3 pawn. Okay, it's still some stuff to happen. But bishop g5, once you get this bishop out of the game, you can dream about various checks and stuff. But that bishop has to disappear. The bishop on h4 must disappear first. Hello, Itachi. Welcome to the chess stream. Bishop g5, bishop b, rook g, rook d7, queen e4, queen d8, fork knight, and rook and g5. So let me look again. Bishop g5, rook takes, rook d7, attacking the queen. Then let me see, do I have another square? Oh yeah, I have a check, queen c5 check. I have a queen c5 check, Marlon. No, that's okay, Vlad. I totally feel you, man. I mean, look, I personally need at least one more coffee now. I mean, really, this is just... I know exactly what you mean. I mean, I've been thinking continuously for like 2 hours now, so I definitely need more coffee or something. Yeah, that's just it's very, very mentally strenuous. It's just crazy. Yeah, that check on c5 might give me the necessary respite to hope for salvation, whatever salvation is or means here. Yeah, bishop g5, bishop takes, rook takes. Sorry, bishop g5, bishop takes g5, rook takes g5, rook d7, then queen c5 check with tempo. Then you're gonna have to either block or move the king, and then I move the bloody rook, or I move the king or the rook or something. So I think I'm gonna get saved because of queen c5 check. Queen c5 check saves. Exactly as you said, dude. Exactly, mate. Exactly. Oh, not now. Apologies. Let me just refresh. Not now. But yeah. So bang, boom, bang, rook d7, queen c5, check. You do whatever you do. You do whatever you do, then king c2, and I guess that guy's still okay. No, that's actually the server itself. Okay, don't matter. Yeah, yeah, of course. There's many things. There's very many things afterwards. Let's see if it's playable by the supreme confirmation. Bishop g5. It's a plus 0.3. It's the last. Yeah, I have a knack for the 4/5 line of the engine when the situation gets really hairy. When it gets really crazy, I'm still getting the last move on the last line. So bishop g5, rook g5, queen h3. That's another stuff. I guess my idea was actually beneficial for white. So bishop g5 is still playable. Not the greatest ever. Not the greatest ever. Look, queen e4 is a hell of a move. Super Grandmaster probably would see it. But anyway. Anyway, Queen e4, it's a crazy stuff. I didn't even think about that one because I'm not a super grandmaster. Queen e4 wants to say, if you take this guy here, I'm going to... Whoa, 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 what the fuck? Ah, no, dude, I'm taking your bishop, man. If you're taking mine, you open up my g file. Well, can you imagine? I didn't see it either, eh? So Queen e4 that the engine suggested, which of course we're not engines, right? So Queen e4 wants to say, but I can put it in human terms after I'm seeing the stuff. Queen e4 means if you're taking my guy, I'm going to take your guy, and in the meantime, you open up the g for me. Fair enough. Cool. That's cool. It's very cool. Queen e4 is super cool. That's a very bloody super grandmaster move. That's a next level move. Queen e4 is the next level move. You gotta be really booked up. You gotta be really good at this. To play Queen e4, you gotta be really good. How long has he been spending? 10 minutes already. Yeah, if he plays Queen e4, he kind of wins. Yeah, Queen e4 is just phenomenal. But again, you've got to be a very good calculator, you know, to see this kind of stuff. You got to be incredibly good. Yeah, Queen e4 is the stuff. Mind you, he spent 10 minutes already, and he still didn't play it. All right, so it's not easy at all, because you as a human, you look for, okay, what I did say all the time is bishop g5, but it's just that just gives plus 0.3. So me as an average chess player, human player, I went for bishop g4, and that's it. But queen e4 is killing it. Queen e4 totally killing it. Queen e4. Wow, what a move. And also moves the queen away from the d file, just in case you are concerned about that stuff. That's just an incredibly elegant, very crafty move. Very difficult to notice as well. This is not an easy find. I mean, can't you see? I mean, how long that this Super GM spent, and they still don't go with whatever the machine might say is the best. This is the difference in between human and a machine. That's the difference. So yeah, there you go. And you want to know what's more shocking? After rook to e5, what is more shocking is that Nakamura didn't move nothing in the last, 35 to 40 minutes already. He didn't move nothing. This is, to me, very, very impressive. This is very impressive. I mean, I'm very surprised the fact he didn't move nothing in 40 minutes or so. 35 minutes, 40 move. I mean, this is crazy. Yeah, I threw my 93 move like ages ago. Because, yeah, I didn't want to actually stay and calculate half an hour everything. So that's why 93 just saves you like half an hour. Half an hour of calculation, and you're still having doubts probably. So, no. No way, Jose. And what about this one here? Yeah, no, it's just crazy. Exactly. That's exactly right. Not h2. Hey, rook a8 in the end. Rook a8 in the end, guys. Exactly as we said, rook a8, because you claim the a file. And you might be able to play rook a2 in the end. So rook a2 keeps the rook on the same file where the knight is potentially, and the queen and stuff. Yeah, exactly right. He can't decide in between knight d6 and knight e3. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And this guy is one of the best on the planet. All right? The best on the planet still can't decide to do knight d6. Go figure. It's too many variables down the road. That is why. So a human would not launch knight d6 that easily. Also, a human would not launch g4 that easily either. Because you're not a machine. So it's very many variables in that position. Exactly. Okay. So rook a8 makes sense now. But okay, you got to be careful about the second rank now. So now Fabi probably needs to go back to the B3 idea. If you don't play B3 now, you're not going to play it. Actually, they're going to play Rook A2. And then you're going to have to. I mean, you can't do this. I mean, you could. Yeah, no, you can't do this. It's just too painful. You got to push B3. G4 is very scary. It's very, very not comfortable move to play because it opens up everything. You have to look at the human's eyes, not with the engine's eyes, so to speak. So this is a lesson in psychology, guys. Chess psychology, that is. G4, even if the engine says not a problem, it's awesome, you're winning, it's easy, not easy at all. G4 invites black to play many things. I mean, they could still do very many things. Opens up all the diagonals and the squares. You don't have nowhere to shield your king to, or beyond or behind. There's no pawn to protect your king. Everything is open. And it's not a comfortable choice. G4, even if the best move, not a comfortable choice at all. So there you go. There you go. Yeah, that would be interesting after like 20 more minutes. He already spent like 40 minutes here. That would be cool after like, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes to decide to play knight e3, eh? Which we did say like, 1 hour ago now. Well, yeah, if you, look, if you play, no, he didn't take. He didn't take, did he? No, he didn't take. If you play just at the local pub, and you play just you moving the pieces to having some fun, I guess for the sake of fun, you're going to go G4. If you're playing for an international title, if you're playing for money, for checks, for serious rating and stuff like that, you're not going to go very easy about G4. So that is the massive difference. So these games are very illustrative for the human psychology at chess. Very illustrative. So I think the game is fabulous. It's fascinating. So you could throw your own ideas, no engine involved, then check with the engine what the engine recommends, then try to understand what's going on, and then see what the Super GM plays. Even if Nakamura probably is the best at the bullet now. I mean, in between him and Prague, probably at the bullet, Nakamura is the god. But bullet is not going to save you if the position is lost. No amount of bullet and speed going to save your game if the position is lost. And Prague is still having 51 minutes. So you can't mess it up now. You can't mess it up against Prague here. So you got to sit down and take, extreme caution. And I am very impressed. I'm very surprised. I'm very surprised with Nakamura's delay of moving that knight. Or I'm very surprised. I don't know what he's doing. Oh my God, he took on d6. Oh, for Christ's sake. Jesus Christ, look at this, guys. He took on d6, man. He spent 40 minutes for this, people. He spent 40 minutes for this. Okay? 40 minutes. A super grandmaster, right? I'm not talking about the average player. 1 hour 31. Oh my God. Yeah, almost 40 minutes. Jesus Christ. He stayed 40 minutes, man, for this one. Roughly 40 minutes. And he took. Can you imagine the amount of calculations he did? No, Prague is absolutely formidable. But he kind of messed it up here. Oh, he calculated 10 lines in all directions. Do you know what he calculated here, Marlon? He calculated here pretty much everything. He calculated queen d7. You have to. He calculated queen d7. He calculated queen b3. What if and if and if and but. He calculated all this stuff. So he has a plan that makes me think he's got a backup plan for everything black chooses to play now. If he spent 40 minutes here, he probably he covered as much as possible. Mainly, he had to cover queen b3 and queen d7. These are the moves, right? So these are the moves. These are the moves. You got to look at what if this and what if that. And queen is being hit. So the power of a move like knight d6 is that the queen is being attacked with tempo. So queen's got to move. You have to move the queen. You take on b3, what do you play? You go d7 to attack the knight, what do you play? Then of course you play queen d7, or we could say knight c4. Knight c4 moves the queen, moves the knight away, attacks the rook. Stuff like this. You know. Wow. Yeah, queen b6, that's another one. So I'm assuming he calculated that one as well. So before you commit knight d6, you got to look at everything following knight d6. So now Prague's turn. Time is still balanced. 46 minutes for Hikaru, 49 for Prague. Time is still there. If he gets out nicely out of this, if he builds up massive advantage, Hikaru is going to be easier in the end. And apparently that was the best move for White to play. He did take a good 40 minutes though. And important for White is also to getting the rook out. So you need to play your rook. You need to get the rook, trade off everything. Trade off everything and keep just the knight. And king versus king. That's it. That's simply being put. But we know it's more it's easier said than done. So yeah, you have to engage all of your pieces now as quickly as possible. Prague has to play a defensive offensive move. He's got to defend the queen. And if possible, attacking the knight or something. So yeah. You got plenty of time in the classical. You should be having a very decent opening. I mean, with that amount of time, you should be able to produce a very decent 15 moves in the opening. So play your best lines you know. Just play a decent opening. And the most of the time will be spent on middle game tactics and end game craziness. That's it. Vlad, you said if he goes to the 6th rank, knight can't move. I guess he can on c4. I guess he can. I mean, it's knight c4, and I'm attacking the queen, I'm attacking the rook, and I'm blocking this pawn. So I can definitely play knight c4, Vlad. So queen b6 and knight c4. Is there a problem with this? I'm attacking queen, I'm attacking the rook, I'm blocking the pawn, so you can't do a discovered check. That is, if you're looking for a discovered check, it doesn't work. What? What check? What? Is there a what check? Queen b6, knight c4, queen f6. Okay, queen f6. Well, that's Nakamura's problem. I guess he calculated. g3, that's a problem. That is a problem. Queen b6. So where the heck do I go with a knight? I think he was supposed to play knight e3. Okay, so if you do knight c4, there's the queen to f6 check. Then I'm moving here, then check. Then I have to give you the queen. This is just too much. Come on, man. Queen b6 for this. Then where the heck do I get with the knight? Ah, come on, you can't do this. Oh, come on. Okay, he spent 40 minutes. I guess he got a backup plan for this, eh? I guess he knew what he was doing when I told him to play knight e3. You know, simple stuff. I told him to do knight e3. He took on d6. Okay. What do you play? Queen b6. You dropping knight or something? Or you playing... what do you play? Yeah, you play rook h to e. Okay, rook takes. Rook takes. Queen takes. Is this the stuff? Is this how you're going to do it? Queen b6. So that's the puzzle of the day, hey? Queen b6, knight c4, queen f6, king g1. Uh-huh. You go back. Therefore, you play without a rook. For a while, that is. Then you're going to have to play h3 and something in order to get the guy, to which he'll be checking you, of course. But hey, you got a knight. Excellently positioned. Yeah. Queen b6, knight c4, queen f6, g1, the only, actually. And then you're going to have to suffer just a little bit because the rook on h1 doesn't really exist in practical terms. It doesn't exist. So some h3 is required, then... But wait a minute. Yeah. Some h3 is required. Then you're going to play chess like this. Yes. Yeah. Obviously. Yes. It's just the only move available. King g1 for white. Afterwards, after knight c4, if queen b6. Hello, Erdep. And rook e2, rook e2, rook e2. So queen b6, knight c4. King g1. Rook e2. What? Rook e2. So Kubik, you say rook e2 when exactly? Now? So you're saying now? No, queen b6 had been played, guys. Queen b6 is on the board, my friends. Queen b6 is already being played. Now it's an incredible example of fabulous chess being played here. I guess knight c6, f1, g, and we keep playing. And we keep playing. Knight c4 by Nakamura instantaneously, if I may say that. Probably instantaneously. Knight c4, let's put it this way, confidently. Yeah, if knight c4 is automatic, that means he did calculate. He did calculate queen f6. He did. My God. This is sick, Kubik. Yeah, absolutely, brother. I get it. I understand what you're saying. I do. This is crazy. He spent like more than 30 minutes, Marlon. He spent almost 40 minutes for knight takes d6. Probably this is the most spectacular game. Probably the next YouTube video should be on this one. So guys, if you haven't subscribed, perhaps you can have a quick sub on my YouTube channel, guys. I'd really appreciate your presence there. Queen f6 check. Oh boy. King g1, rook e2. King g1 played immediately. Is it going to be like Kubik's idea with rook e2? I don't know. Rook e2, I'm taking. They taking. Then I'm blocking with the queen f1, Kubik. It's playable. Hey, I'm still having a knight, by the way. So I don't say it's impossible, rook e2, Kubik. I don't say... No, it's fine. It's fine. Rook e2, queen takes. Queen takes. Queen f1 blocks. And, you know, you're going to go then maybe c3, going for the b3 pawn in order to, you know, push that guy. I get it. No, you're going to take first or you're going to move the... Rook e2, exactly. Rook e2, exactly right. Come on, guys. He calculated. He's a super GM. Come on. Queen takes e2. Queen takes a1. Queen f1. Queen c3. And that's cool. Sorry, but the queen is under threat. This is just gorgeous. What rook d5, people? Dudes, there is no... Oh, this is nice. Nice. This is nice. This is nice. This is really nice. Rook f1, attacking queen. You take my queen, I take your queen. Wow. There is no more checks. There is no more checks. And, well, there is a check on d4, but hey, I think he's happy to trade off queens anytime. Given the material advantage, yeah, you only need an h3, king h2, and then you're going to get everything. Yeah, he calculated like a maniac. Yeah, I mean, look, I think he finished like 3 energy drinks, and he just sat down and calculated enormously in all directions. Well, it makes sense. He preserves the material. Oh, they're going to be easy now, guys. They're going to be really easy now, fellas. Really easy, because pieces are coming off the board. Rook to d5, go for that guy. Okay, rook to f3, come on. This is... Almost there. There is one little tweak here, guys. There is king f2 and then rook coming into power, and that cool. So we might see this. Nicely, rook f3 looks after the b pawn, so you can't really attack the pawn. You can't attack that guy on b3, so the knight reigns supreme. So it might be some a5. But after king... So whose turn is now? Black's turn. Okay, let's assume a5. I'm going to play f2. You're going to push one more time. Do you know what I'm going to do? The question is if I'm going to do rook a1 or rook b1, or what exactly am I going to do? I think I'm going to do rook a1. Because you can't take my pawn. I'm going to take... I'm going to checkmate you practically. So this is win for white. Definitely win for white. Fabulous game by Nakamura, man. Come on. The guy is a tactical genius, all right? He's a tactical genius. He had the guts, he had the nerves. He had the nerves to go after knight takes d6. This is crazy. He calculated a lot. He went for knight d6. He's a tactical genius. He sees stuff. Okay, this is win for white. I think we can conclude, guys, that this is winning for white. Do you know what? I think in the moment Nakamura gets king to f2, I think Prague's going to resign. He's going to resign. I mean, he might be forcing a little bit the a file pawn, but, I mean, it's an extra piece, right? After all. Yes, Marlon, that is correct. Prague had made a huge decision. When he sacked a knight for 2 pawns on the e-file, he made a huge decision that impacted the rest of the game. He gave a knight for 2 pawns. He did get some activation for a while, but now it came to this. So to what use was knight e4? Well, we can conclude not a big deal, after all. If you lose it, that is. Yeah, that was a bad position for the white knight, for the black knight on f6, because of that pawn spear structure with the e4, f3 pawns and d5, e4, f3, g2. That was paralyzing completely the knight on f6. He decided to play that for pieces activity. He wanted to gamble. He gambled and he lost. No, he didn't calculate all of this, because if he did calculate up to this very point, he wouldn't have played it, Marlon. Yeah, we could say that. If Prague had seen all the stuff that we are now seeing with arrows and stuff, of course he wouldn't have played knight e4. He hoped for piece activity. He gambled. That was a moment in which Prague just gambled. He didn't like the position in which it found itself. He felt very uncomfortable, and he gambled. So he is not afraid to take risks. He did take a massive risk when he gave a knight for 2 pawns, but this is the result. Yeah, I agree. He gambled, he lost. In other scenarios, he might be winning. And now I'm pretty sure he doesn't like what he sees. Check. You're going to block with the rook f1, by the way. You can't move here because you're going to lose the guy, and therefore you're going to lose the game. Therefore, a rook is going to play on f1. A rook f3 to f1. I guess the rook's going to go back here. I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen. Rook f1, rook d3 to attack b3. Rook b1 to defend. And it's going to be this. There you go, rook f1. I mean, this is forced. Rook d3, that makes a lot of sense as a human approach here. Rook d3, you want to go for that? There you go. So now we can predict the moves for a while, but I actually thought rook b, but Nakamura said, no, I'm going to play knight a5. This Nakamura guy is just way too resourceful, I'm telling you. And by the way, how do you attack the knight? Well, you cannot. Oh, this is just so glorious. This is just too good. I can't. This is just too good. Knight a5, guys. I don't say rook b1 is fundamentally losing for white, but knight a5 stops a7 to a5 coming down the board. This is supermaster stuff. This is just too good. Move knight a5, protects b3, and stops a7 to a5. This is just too good. So this is too good. Absolutely way too good. Oh, this Nakamura guy is just too good. Knight a5. Fabulous stuff. Absolutely fabulous stuff by Naka. Played almost immediately. I think Nakamura now has him on the ropes. I think you can't get out. We're going to see some h3. We're going to see some king h2 and full power of the rooks. Things going to get traded. That was the last thing. That was the last thing, I guess. Is there any other surprise that might happen here? I mean, what? Can you do this kind of stuff to force them to take knight take and then this kind of stuff? Yeah, it might be this kind of stuff. Betting everything on the a-file pawn. Yes, that might be a possible way. If you don't do that, if you play a rook, so let's say you're playing a rook now. Let's just say, for a friend, let's just say you play, I don't know, something. If you do this kind of stuff, black's going to play immediately h3. And it's kind of done. If you want to make it funky for a bit more, probably you're going to play c4, bc, knight c, and then you push. Or you play rook. One of these two. I don't know which one you want to do. But then, of course, after h3 and king h2, I guess it's really tough for white to... sorry, for black to play anything. Yeah, so probably he would resign as soon as king h2 and rooks are connected. He might resign as soon as. It's just fabulous. I absolutely love the way Nakamura reacted to this. I'm curious to see, because I'm a very much panicking. Yeah, rook b1 was the move that I would have played because I'm playing it out of panic. But Nakamura is another level of guy. He went knight a5. I would have played rook b1, I said it. But Nakamura said, no, 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 I've got a better plan, knight a5. The guy is just too good. He's just too good. Knight a5. Look, this is just fabulous. Yeah. So average, let's say, chess players like myself and stuff, I would have played rook b1 because I'm kind of like what I am now. So that's... But knight a5 is just something way, way, way cooler. Way more subtle. It's more beautiful, safer, and more efficient. It's way more efficient than rook b1. Why? Because rook b1 that I had played myself, it's an invitation for black to mess around. You know, they just messing about. But boy, oh boy, not Nakamura. G-pawn, it is made of glass, but you know how many tempi you need to do to break that pawn? Vlad, I understand what you're meaning, but it takes you some ages. I don't think there's a big trouble. I think. I mean, I may be wrong. So first, I mean, just look at it. They need one. Sorry, it's black's turn. One. Okay. I'm playing this. Two. Already visible for Nakamura, your intention. I'm playing king h2. Battery. Well, rook h1 to g2. And that was about it. That's about it. That's it. Rook g1 defense, you're going to have to keep your rooks all the time on the second rank to exert the pressure. And in the meantime, my rook on f1 does whatever they want. My rook on f1 does whatever. Challenges one of your rooks with the back rank checkmate. Goes on the c to take your guy here. I mean, my rook does whatever. So I understand your idea. Probably it's one of the fewest, one of the last plans available for black. But then again, there's nothing else for black to exploit here. I don't know what else is here for them to play. That's just fabulous game. Absolutely. I really enjoyed Nakamura Pragnananda today. Really enjoy about this one. It's just phenomenal. But boy, oh boy, Fabi Carlsen here. Well, black goes after the c3 pawn. I can see that. At least I can see this. So you got a double defense over there. How you bring the second defense? Man, it's too many pieces on the board. That should be illegal. It's too many pieces on the board. What's the pieces here? Did they just start it or something? Okay, what do we play here? Rook C. Do we take? No, we can't take because they're gonna take C3 and then they're gonna threaten E3. No. We're gonna play Rook F to C and just keep playing for another 2 hours here. God knows, it's just this is very bushy here. It's just a lot of pieces here. Okay, Rook FC, and the game continues with very, very many question marks everywhere. This is very mobile still. Things are attacking. 2 knights on the board. You're going to play all day. You're going to play all night here. You're going to play all day. You're going to play all night here. Also, there is dinner time. So, yeah, you're going to play whilst you're having your kebabs and your stuff. Yeah, that's a long game. All right. Okay. That's a very long game here. Not that much spectacular, I have to say. Fabian Magnus today, not that much of a spectacular game. But it's very difficult to say. Oh, hold on a second. Hi there, if I remember the Hellenic alphabet, Nectarios. Let me see if I can remember from the uni when I studied philosophy. It was Nectarios, Nectarios, something? Nectarios, okay. So, let me look at the material. 1, 3, 4 to 6, 4 to 6. Okay, the same points, same material. Very difficult. Probably Sifakis. Thank you very much. And apologies if I messed up your pronunciation. I'm not familiar with the Hellenic original alphabet. But anyway, Nectarios, I could tell you that it's pretty much equalish. I don't like the knight on h2 very much for white. So white now would have to spend the tempo to defend this guy. We might be having some further pressure on the c3. I think black is a little bit maybe better, but negligible. It's still negligible. Okay, he go for the B, he go for the C now. Magnus going to go for the C. I think it's equal-ish. Equalish. There is no big advantage for anyone. It's just a little bit equalish. Let's have the supreme confirmation. Thanks for asking. Minus 0.10, which probably means nothing. Minus 0.10 plus 0.10. There you go. Minus 0.18. You got the supreme confirmation. I said minus 0.10 plus 0.10. There you go. Equalish, exactly as I said. There is no big weakness anywhere. So this is a long game. Now, this is more exciting, though. This is way more exciting. Way more. Hey, he played Queen E4. Alireza the machine. Alireza the machine. Queen E4. Now, this is a incredibly super grandmaster move. And he did spend some time, mind you guys. 20 minutes. Well, 19 minutes or something. No, this is a grandmaster move, man. Marlon, you gotta be incredibly good to go for Queen E4 here. You gotta be good. You gotta be Alireza or you gotta be Stockfish. Which one is it? Obviously, it's Alireza. So you gotta be a super grandmaster guy to play this kind of stuff. You gotta be good. You gotta be really good at this. Queen E4. Way more exciting than Bishop G5, what I suggested myself and stuff like that. So Queen E4. Queen takes H3. Queen takes H7. And there is enormous pressure here. We've got 3 attackers. 1, 2, 3. And knight makes a pin. Rook makes a pin on the knight. So this is more exciting than Magnus Fabi. Fabi Magnus, you can die of... You can go to sleep, wake up again, eat something, go to sleep, wake up again, drink something, eat something, wake up, come back, and Fabi and Magnus still be playing. I'm telling you. So that's that kind of game that Magnus and Fabi play today. Go sleep, put the clock to ring after 8 hours, wake up, they're going to still be playing, I'm telling. But it's not the case with Ding and Alireza here. So there's enormous pressure here. And there is also pressure on this guy. I reckon this thing is going to happen anytime soon. That's nothing. It's just a checkmate. It's pretty much nothing. Only a checkmate. But also the question is, can white actually do something about it, G7? I mean, can we do a check? We can definitely do a check. Then the king's going to move. Where's the next check? Where's the next check? Can you do this? The rook is pinned. They can't take your bishop. Can the king takes? Surely they can. Can I play queen here? Check. Surely you can. Can they move back? Of course they can. Where's the check? Because if you mess it up, after queen h2, you're in deep trouble. So this is way more exciting than Fabi Magnus. This is way more exciting. So what Alireza plays now with Dingley Ren, it's absolutely spectacular. As Nakamura Prague was absolutely superb game. Absolutely. A jewel of a game. Pure jewelry. They were just magnificent. Look at this. Oh, he didn't move Prague. Well, I guess Prague is not very happy with what he sees now on the board. So, yeah, after knight a5, you kind of lose. You kind of like lose it. I mean, it's not that great anymore. So yeah, he tries to contrive anything that might be complicating, but what can you do? Because you're kind of limited by the position. What can you possibly do? I don't know. Hey, they took with the rook, not with the bishop. He took with the rook, Alireza. He is magnificent. Rook takes. Now, if you take, you're getting deep trouble. Check here. Gonna be another check here. You're gonna get in deep trouble. Check here. And, well, at least we got another check here. Then bishop has to take. The queen has to take. You are another check. Then king is here. Then I'm gonna do another check. I'll have a passer. King's gonna have to play. Check again. It's just great. This one doesn't work now because it's just not working because of this. So this is just fabulous. I think Ding might be dropping this. I think it's a very big plus here. It's a plus 9, plus 10. What is it? Plus 9 or plus 10 or something? I don't know what you're playing. I don't know what you're playing unless you start doing this kind of stuff. Queen h1, rook take. I mean, you have to play crazy stuff now because you're getting cooked here. It's really, you're getting toast with black. If you don't pull some magic here, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing. Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. Queen h1 and then rook g1 and goodbye. Yeah, this is just killer. Absolutely. Yeah, so again, you have to pull some super magics. I don't know what you can do here. I think you're in deep trouble, yeah. There's a problem. Discover check. There's a problem. Check, rook takes f7. I mean, this is just big trouble. That the checkmate is coming. Well, you're going to be moving around a bit, but it's just horrible. Whichever way you look. No. That didn't happen. Did it? That didn't happen just yet. Okay. I think it's a very big plus here for white. It's plus 8, plus 9. Hell, I don't know how the engine evaluates this. Let's find out. I mean, just for the sake of having fun or anything, because it's not. Queen f1. Yeah, queen f1. Knight is pinned. Okay. Queen f1. Knight is pinned. So king to c. And then, I don't know, you play this for something, but then I'm moving again. I'm attacking with tempo. So I think it's kind of finished for black. Evaluation gauge for this guy. Yeah, dudes, it's plus 5.21. Okay, I was way over bidding this. I was way over optimistic. I gave it a plus 8. It's just plus 527. But for the reasons I've explained, I guess you guys knew that even better than me, especially Marlon, and he's not the only one. You guys see better than me, obviously. It's just too much pressure. Too much. It's just too much here. It's plus 5. It's just, this is done. This is done. And also, Prague and Nakamura is finished. Okay, this is just a desperate... Oh, what is my friend Vlad here? Vlad, you said something about the G file. This is the last desperate attempt for black to try to do something. Whatever that is, I don't know what that is. G pawn, I don't know what that is. It's the last attempt to try to mess things up. Now, I'm going to say something. I think H3 is the most attractive idea for white, h3 is the most attractive because I want to play king h2. And I want to connect my rooks and just be done with this all. Oh yeah, absolutely. That's one of the main reasons you might be seeing stuff they probably miss every now and then. But nevertheless, you've noticed how he plays. Although it takes 40 minutes for him to play that move. It takes a hell of a lot of time. You know, that's the advantages of the classical chess, guys. So in the classical chess, I think you are going to witness, as you witness now, the best chess being played ever by these guys. So, okay. Probably the most attractive ever is h3. Is just totally. If it's not h3, gotta be one of those Nakamura genius tactics. Because I'm not a tactical genius, I just go h3 because I want to play. I want to play king h2 and I want to simplify everything. But I'm not a tactical genius. So Nakamura can pull in. He said, wait a minute, dude, you could play h3. But what if I play h4? And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because he wants to play rook h3. Because you want to play rook f3, eventually defending b3, also with the same rook attacking on f7. This is a tactical genius. He takes it one step forwards. Okay, this is the difference between a guy like Nakamura and a guy like myself. He just takes it one step forward. I did say h3 because I'm a normal human. Nakamura is not a normal human. He said no, h4, because h4 ticks more boxes. Allows this, defensive purposes, allows f3, aggressive purposes. This is Nakamura, and this is any other type of player. There you go. Isn't this gorgeous? Isn't this guy absolutely phenomenal? I mean, I rest my case. That's just how strong these guys are, how creative they are. Can you believe the level of creativity? It's just unbelievable. Just unbelievable. And just for the sake of having this, let's see what the engine says here. Oh, bloody hell, I was once right in my whole life. h3. Was I better than Nakamura here? Well, seemingly I was, but I wasn't even aware I was. I wasn't even aware I was proposing better than idea than Nakamura. Why the hell is h3 better than h4? They both follow by rook a2, attacking the knight. Knight comes to c4 to safety. Hey, fellas, you know something? My move actually was better than h4. I credited Nakamura with a bit more than he deserved. Sorry, guys. I only play the first line, eh? I only see the first line, h3. But I thought h4 is actually a killer. It is a killer anyway. Okay. Heck. Oh, boy. h4, rook a2, of course, you got to move the knight to safety. Knight goes to safety. You can't attack the pawn because knight c4 takes b2, takes a3, takes bloody everything. It's aiming at the center of the board. It takes everything, this knight. Takes everything. And rook h3, rook f3. Happy days. And happy days, and white is just winning regardless. h3, h4, who gives a heck? It's still winning. So knight c4, of course, going to safety. Nothing's going to stop rook h3 and rook f3 or something. They're going to play f6, but I think it is irrelevant at this stage. f6, not f6, who cares? It's irrelevant because we're going to be rerouting the rooks. We're going to be playing maybe this. We're going to be playing maybe that. Rook's going to go away. We're going to play a rook maybe here. We're going to play a rook here. We're going to take off everything. And this is over in like 15, 20 moves. I think Prague will resign. Oh, yeah, I'm going to send a message to his team. Yeah, he's definitely going to be subscribing to my channel. I'm sure, Simpson. Yeah, absolutely, he's going to sub to my channel, definitely. Actually, he's going to teach me a lesson one of these days. More likely. Just to shatter my everything I would have thought I could play. And I would be absolutely thrilled to being taught a lesson by Nakamura. Absolutely. So, yeah. Well, that's a good question, Marlon. I do not know. I think he should have been here. I don't know. I don't know why just 6 players. I don't know why not 12 or 16 players or bloody 20 players. I would have made it with more Super GMs. Maybe the sponsors didn't want to pay so much money. Let's just put it this way. The guys that sponsored, they said, hey guys, we got to pull more money, man, to pay these guys. Do we want to pay them? No. No, we don't want to pay them. Heck it, let's just keep it small, man. Do you know what I mean? And they say, oh, okay, wait, why would we pay 20 top players? Let's just pay 6, Screw it. So yeah. Yeah, but you don't have to pay 20 people, you pay only 6. So it's good to keep it restrict. I mean, not too much. Maybe not too much. Do you know what I mean? Just pay 6 guys, not 20. I mean, just my 2 cents. Of course, it's always about money, man. It's almost everything is about it. Almost everything. Almost. Not everything, but almost. In this world. Whatever this world is. Yeah. Anything. I don't know the negotiations, the anything. Rook h3, exactly as I said. Rook h3 for rook f3 going for this guy and stuff. Well, f6 any time happening. But again, no one really cares because rook's going to be playing. Oh, yeah. You give Naka 40 minutes here, he going to eat you alive. That's about it. Yeah. So Prague is going to force a little bit stuff because of these 2 guys. He's going to try to create something. But, a piece is a piece. An extra piece is an extra piece. You can't. It's just a piece is a piece, after all. And the game, guys, exactly. Didn't I tell you? A4, exactly right. He wants to do whatever it's possible here. My 2 cents you have to take. You've got to take. A rook is going to take. But then again, I don't think it's very important. You got to take the pawn. Rook's going to take. You're going to have to move the knight again, right? And you're going to sit down and calculate. Well, bloody hell, he's got 40 minutes. He could go literally whatever the heck he wants. Whatever. I think all the squares are good. All the squares lead to victory now. Almost all the squares. I mean, not this one on b2 where you're going to drop the knight. So he's not going to play this unless he's drunk, which he is not. You can't be drinking at this event. So, knight b6, knight d6. Okay, knight b6. Because Nakamura is Nakamura, he attacks with tempo. He said, I'm not going to take the pawn, I'm attacking your rook, and if it's anything funny, I'm going to play knight a4. That's a cool thinking. But anyway, I was better than Nakamura when I played h3. Yeah, so he going to sub to my channel because of that. Yeah. Exactly. So knight b6 actually attacks the rook with tempo and attacks the pawn as well. So rook's going to have to play, knight's going to have to take, and it's even worse for black than before. Yeah, it's just... Now, I mean, you're just watching and learning how to capitalize on this kind of situations, but this is gone. Prague had lost like half an hour ago. Prague had lost. Oh, yeah. When you have in pawn majority and you're losing, I'm assuming you have what? King 3 pawns versus king, lone king. You have to win even with 2 pawns. Depends on the position. Yeah, so knight to a4, goes for the c, protects. You want to know something? This one's going to happen. Rook c3. Rook c3, and I don't know what you're supposed to play with black. Yeah, after the knight e4 sacrifice, everything goes down. Everything goes down massively. He's kind of lost for like 50 minutes. He's lost Prague. He's suffering like Magnus yesterday. Magnus yesterday was lost after, I don't know, what move was that? Move number 14? When he messed up the opening a little bit, there were nuances over nuances over nuances in that Sicilian Khan variation he played. Yeah, he didn't play the right nuance in the opening, and Prague just built up the positional advantage until he couldn't take no more. He suffered a lot, Magnus, yesterday in the game. And now Prague is in a losing position for like 50 minutes. He's struggling here. Yeah. So what do you play here with white? Probably rook c3. Any trade is good for you, I guess. Well, it might be, yeah, taking here, and then you gotta take, then rook's gonna take, then you're gonna play rooks here. I think that's enough, right? Okay, it's not completely over. It's not like totally done. You could still play stuff. It's gonna be instructive for everybody. Hey, Gasson, how's it going, man? Any more ancient coins you've acquired, you've sold? Roman ancient coins? How much is a Roman coin on the market? Is there a price for the Roman coins on the market? Ranging in between? Let's say from the time of Augustus? Octavius, Augustus, what's that? 1st century AD? Augustus? Rook f5. Rook f5. Rook f5. Rook b. Rook c3. Rook f5. Rook takes. Rook takes. Rook takes. Yeah, that's better. I think rook f5 is better. Yeah, rook f5 is better. Because I'm a threatening back rank checkmate. And yeah, I think I'm liking this a bit more. Rook f5. Sorry, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Rook f5. Pawn goes here, though. This guy takes. Rook takes. I think works. Everything works here. Almost everything works here. Everything works, I guess. Rare euros? How rare? No, you don't know. Gasson is a specialized buyer and seller of antiquities. So he's a very ambitious young man, and I mean, that's what he told me. And he buys and he sells ancient, artifacts, well, coins and stuff more likely, and things. He's an entrepreneur. How do they say in French? Entrepreneur. It's one of those words that makes you sick when you try to pronounce it. There are some words that make you a little bit sick when you try to pronounce it. Entrepreneur. It makes me sick just to say it. Rook f5. Rook f5. Yes, of course. Rook h3 is defending b3. Absolutely. Spot on. Absolutely. A Roman coin, 360 euros? A Roman coin from the 1st century AD? Okay. Like with the Augustus Octavius effigy on it or something. Interesting. Oops, that hadn't been played, so you just moved the head too fast. Okay, rook c2. So rook f5, just going back, Marlon. Rook f5, I think it's a great stuff to play. It's really great. It's good. It's awesome. It's just great. Pawn comes down. Everything works. Everything works. Yeah, it's just everything works here. I think Nakamura tries to, I don't know, maybe he went to the loo. Maybe he just, I don't know, he slept a little bit. Yeah, he's just winning here. I mean, pretty much whatever kind of wins. Fabi Magnus, they want us to die of boredom. Fabi and Magnus here, I mean, this guy's going to play for a week now. This is a game that lasts a week, at least a week, or maybe a month. Yeah, this kind of game that lasts a month. It's a correspondence game. Actually, probably you didn't know, guys. Fabi Magnus now play correspondence game. This is gonna take like a month, or maybe a little bit faster. Two ancient coins for 360 euros. Two old euros for 360 current euros. Okay. There must be some old euro. I have no idea they could be so expensive. I had no idea the euros could be so expensive. Okay. All right. D takes E. Double attack here. I guess Fabi will have to take back in this correspondence game. In the correspondence game, you will have to take back. But take back with what? Because you take with the knight, right? The knight is protected by the rook. You take with the knight. Knight takes, queen takes. And you exert pressure on e6. I guess you can. But you gotta be careful about this. Oh boy. Oh, that smells like a blunder. I'm sure Fabi not gonna fall for this. So 95, if you actually aren't careful, you're gonna be getting forked like this. That's a bit of a pain. It's a bit of a pain, so you didn't get anything from Vatican? Maybe it's expensive, man, you know. Vatican, I don't know. Queen e2, yeah, knowing Fabi, I think so. Although the question would be, would you like to try something against the e6 pawn? I don't know if that is queen a6 or something. Would you like to try to attack this guy somehow, ever? Would you like to play a rook, maybe? Or also you losing the power of the f? I don't know, perhaps. Rook fe1, queen a6, all sorts of ideas. Oh, Vatican euros. Oh. Okay. Well, they must be precious then. They might be sanctified or something. All right. Queen a6, rook fe. I don't know. There's many variables here, and 23 minutes for Fabi, 26 for Magnus. This is a game that's gonna last a full month. And when I come back tomorrow for the stream, they're still going to be playing it. But Nakamura and Prague definitely going to be finishing quicker. Rook f4, actually. Rook f4. Rook f4 wants to say, Marlon suggested rook f5, which I think would have won anyway. But rook f4 actually wants to say, we're going to try this probably. And you're going to have to draw pieces. You're going to have to trade. You're going to have to trade one way or another. Probably that's the thing. I don't know. Rook f4 wants to say I'm going to also defend my guy on h4. So that's not just... It's defensive, it's offensive, defensive. They are interchangeable. So rook f4. And yeah, we could see many things. We could see very many things here. Rook h to f. Pretty much everything kind of wins here. Yeah, he didn't like the c4, indeed. He didn't like it. He wants to solidify. Yeah. I guess you laughed. I guess you do look like. I guess you'll be judging by the nomenclature and stuff. Yeah, I guess. Then maybe they're going to make you better offers for the restaurants and hospitality, you know. Okay, that's gonna take some time. What about Alireza and Ding here? Hey, what's going on with this? Rook takes. Oh, come on, this is done, right? Not completely, but it's almost there. So queen takes g7. What's the shortest way, guys, to win here? What is the shortest way? Queen g7. This guy's gonna go here. Then you have another check here. The king's gonna go here. Then you could trade off the bishop. Then you got another check. Then queen's gonna go here. Then you gotta check, and also you gotta make sure you're safe and fast enough to get the rook. King to c2 and maybe getting the rook. You gotta be careful about that one. So which one is the fastest? This one? You kind of can though. Yeah, you could do it this way too. No, wait a minute. This. You mustn't let them escape. You mustn't let them escape. Can you do this? No. Yes. No, yes. No, yes. Okay, I would take with a queen. I would just take with a queen. Queen takes. This guy goes here. Yeah, takes with a queen. I would take with a queen. Yeah, exactly right. You got to be very, very surgical in your assessment. You have to be so exact, or you're going to lose. You're just going to lose after like 3 hours of thinking. This is crazy. To lose a winning position is the most devastating thing that may happen, I guess, to a chess player in a tournament. I mean, if you lose the game because you played badly in the middle game or opening, you kind of like, you deserve to lose. I mean, you messed it up since like 20 moves ago. Of course you lose. But if you lose a position which is won, that's devastating indeed. That is just crazy. I mean, you would be so affected that the question is if you're able to actually play normally the next round. That's the most difficult thing. Okay. What is the next check? We've got to check here. It's just incredibly painful. Yes. Losing a one position, it's incredibly painful. Yes, indeed. Yeah. So, hey, he took. Sorry, guys. What about rook c5? So if knight and the, can we play rook c5? Or is he gonna attack with knight c4? So you take, I take. Oh my god. Fabi also delivers. He played boldly, knight f3 to e5, very boldly, knowing that if rook c5, probably he's gonna reply knight c4. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? Now that anyway, it didn't matter because Gukesh was qualified anyway, so it didn't matter who wins or who loses at that stage. If I remember correctly, in the last match in the candidates, Marlon, I think Gukesh already was qualified, was the winner. So it doesn't make a huge difference now whoever's second or third. As we know, sometimes being second or third doesn't really matter. Unless you're getting some check, some money. And then it does matter to some extent. Yeah. So guys, if I'm correct, after rook c5, we have to see knight c4, right? We have to. Rook c5, knight c4. Unless black starts playing stuff. But whatever you do, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter at this stage. You're going to play here, attacking the queen. Queen takes, knight takes. It's okay. 3 versus 3. This one ends up a draw. This one ends up in a draw. So if Fabio would have won, he could have played as a tie-break with Gukesh. Yeah. I think so. So it wasn't quite not. Yeah, it was actually quite important for Fabi. Yeah. Yes. Well, difficult. Yeah. Okay. You might be feeling a little bit crappy from taking from Fabi that chance. Yeah. Well, I'm supposing everyone plays to win or to draw, not to lose, favoring another player. That would be a little bit illegal stuff. So yeah, I would assume. I get it. Okie dokie. So, fellas, I so much appreciate you being here, fellas. Marlon, I really enjoyed the game. Vlad, Marlon, who's the other guys? I don't want to miss too many nice people down here. Gasson, if they're still there. David, Simpson. Guys, we're going to have to take a break now. And it's been more than 3 hours, apparently. I didn't even realize I could stay all night long. But I definitely need tons of more coffee. I'm going to be watching on my mobile screen the wonderful games that are happening, guys. And if everything in order, I'll be seeing you tomorrow evening then. Okie dokie. Cheers, Simpson. Thanks very much, fellas. I wish you all the best, guys, and see you shortly then. Okie dokie. Enjoy the games, and thank you all, my friends. Thank you very, very much. Thank you all. Okay. See you soon.